This week, in Chester, Pennsylvania, a young woman's disappearance is quickly solved when her body is found in horrible condition, but the question of who did it remains a mystery until detectives start to find way too many coincidences with one particular suspect's awful past. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Wisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another absolutely insane edition of Small Town Murder. You know how it goes. The regular episodes, it's going to be an epic murder tale, so we will get into this very quickly. Before we get to that, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com to get your tickets for live shows. Also, merchandise, anything you want to know there. But tickets for live shows, they're going to start up again after the summer, and a lot of these shows are sold out, so get your tickets now. Like Portland's sold out. Get your tickets for Seattle the next night. You want to go to Philly and D.C. in December. Those are selling fast and they're almost gone, so get your tickets there. I think there's a few left in Irvine.
Yeah.
San Diego might have a couple, but I don't think so. Maybe Grand Rapids and Madison, I think, are sold out. So do that. Get your tickets there. That is shutupandgivememurder.com. Now, you also want to listen to our other two shows for sure. Crime in Sports, which we're doing all sorts of wild stuff over there. We're going to talk about a multi-parter on the I-5 killer. So if you're interested in murder, that's a good one to do there, Randall Woodfield. And definitely listen to Your Stupid Opinions, which is where we talk about the dumbest reviews from all over the internet. Then, when you're all caught up on all of that, get yourself Patreon. Yeah. That's where all the bonus stuff is. Patreon.com/crimeinsports is where you get all the bonus material. Anybody $5 a month or above, you're going to get immediately upon subscription hundreds and hundreds of episodes of bonus stuff to binge on that you've never heard before. Then you get new ones every week, or every other week, I'm sorry. One Crime in Sports, one Small Town Murder, and you get it all. That's all it takes, $5. And for this week, what you're going to get for Crime in Sports, we're going to talk about something crazy. These people they have a baseball league now in modern times, 2025, where they play by 1864 rules and equipment and regulations. It's the weirdest thing we ever are going to talk about. Then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk all about this new Sherry Papini documentary.
Oh my God.
Where she's got a whole new story now. It's insane. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I'm going to watch it 12 times before we record, and Jimmy said he's doing the same because I
can't wait.
You just got to take in the crazy like a sponge, just soak it up. It's a lot.
The first run is not enough. You got to go back.
No, you need more. You got to go back and go, hold on.
She really is. Yeah.
It's wild stuff. So patreon.com/crimeinsports, and you get a shout out at the end of the show as well. Jimmy will mess your name up. Don't you even worry about that. That said, disclaimer time. This is a comedy show. We're comedians. We're going to tell jokes here. Now, the murder story is completely real. There is nothing fake or, embellished about the murder story for comedic effect. It's insane. There's enough murders out there to find insane things that, trust me, you don't have to make anything up. And you might go, well, how does murder and comedy go together? How does that work? Real easily. There's a real easy way to do that. We don't make fun of the victims. We don't make fun of the victims' families.
Why?
Because we're assholes.
But
we're not scumbags. That's how that works. See, it's real easy. So if that sounds good to you, you're going to hear a wild story, and you're always going to hear wild stories. If you think that true crime and comedy, no matter what, should never go together, we might not be for you, but we might be for you. Maybe you should check it out and, make your own judgment on that at a later date. It's mainly just, making, you might get mad at making fun of a town, but that's silly because, who cares? We're all from somewhere easy to make fun of. That said, for the rest of you that want to have a good time and hear a crazy story, I think it's time to sit back, clear the lungs, and let's all shout. Shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, everybody.
Let's go.
Let's go on a trip, shall we? We are going to Pennsylvania. Now, you might say we were just in Pennsylvania like 2 months ago for an episode. Yes, we were. It doesn't matter. This is kind of a case that was in reserve, so it's a long story, but we did this case this week, and it's a great case, and it's wild stuff, and it doesn't matter that we've been in Pennsylvania. It's so crazy that we needed to go back to Pennsylvania again, put it that way. So this is in southeastern Pennsylvania. This is Chester, Pennsylvania is the name of the town. And it's about 25 minutes outside of Philly. It's a Philly kind of suburb that's kind of fallen on hard times here. It's about 2 hours and 10 minutes to New York City. And about 2 hours to Kingston Township, Pennsylvania, which was that one from a couple months ago, the serial killer's secret graveyard.
Oh, boy.
That was a real gross one, as a matter of fact. This is in Delaware County, which I love it when there's counties named after other states in the states that those aren't in. That always drives me crazy, and it happens, I don't know, weekly to us, right? Between this and the Friday Express episode, one of the two will have the county named after another state.
Everything was everywhere else in that last one.
Yeah, it was very confusing. Next, the area code here, 484. Town motto. Okay, hold on to your hats here, because I had to read this like 3 times because it made my brain hurt. What Chester makes Chester.
What it makes us. Yeah.
What we makes us, basically.
Yeah.
But when you just read that at 3 a.m. when you're stoned, it's like, what Chester makes Chester. What, man? Is that like a riddle? Like, I was really out there. And then today it was more clear, though. History of this town, a little bit. It's the oldest city in Pennsylvania.
Is that
right? That's saying something, because Pennsylvania is kind of one of the...
Chester is
one of the originals.
Not even Philadelphia.
It's one. Nope, it's the oldest city, founded in 1644.
How about that?
By Swedish people.
Yeah.
And that's how that went. In
If it was closer to the shore, it probably would have been the capital, huh?
I probably would assume so, yeah. It was in 1681, William Penn acquired the colonial settlement as a safe haven for Quakers. That's what Pennsylvania was. It was just it was like Quaker Utah, basically. Okay. What that was for Mormons was for Quakers. Except, they weren't doing like weird shit that made you run away. Yeah. That was the thing. They had to get out there because people were like chasing them with pitchforks to Utah. These people are just like, I don't know, what do you people do? Not much. Just kind of sit around, be quiet. You don't like violence and you make baskets and shit? Okay, well, do it in Pennsylvania. There's plenty of land.
Do it there.
Yeah, do it there. Plenty of land. So a year later, he landed on the ship Welcome. That's the name of the ship. And renamed the settlement Chester after a city in England. So, again, named after that. A lot of economic challenges. As of 2022, this town of Chester declared bankruptcy. So,
is that right?
Yeah, they're having problems there. Yeah. Bankrupt town.
I didn't know towns can do that.
Apparently it can. I don't know what the hell you couldn't pay, but you couldn't, the workers or, for services. I don't know what the hell, but bankrupt. So let's find out some reviews of this town from people who live here and see what it's all about. Here's 5 stars. Okay, keep in mind, this is perfect rating, 5 stars.
Yeah.
Chester is an interesting place. That's the first line.
Yeah.
It has its seedy sides. This is a 5-star review.
Yeah, all right.
Interesting and
gross.
seedy so far. Yeah. But the majority of the residents are decent working people.
I think that's everywhere.
That's the best review that they could muster for 5 stars. It's kind of crappy, but the people work hard, I suppose.
Majority of people work hard, James.
Otherwise it would really be a mess. So here's 3 stars. Okay, it's a little long. First city where I was almost attacked by a street gang at night by Lamokin Project in Central Avenue. Okay, my boyfriend was an ex-vet and handled the situation. We made it.
What does that mean?
That's really vague, right? I was like, they just left that shit.
Murked a bunch of people, and we're okay.
They left that shit mad vague. He's an ex-vet, so he hid in a tree and sniped people, and then we got out of there. That's what it sounds like.
He's an ex-vet. You know what that means.
Wow. Visited my coworker on 3rd Street. We were nursing assistants. She was very nice, had 5 kids. Her house was an old row house, and there was no roof. No roof, which is really not a house at that point.
No, that's just some walls and shit.
That is not anything. You need a roof for something to be a house. Matter of fact, fuck the walls. Just a roof would be way better. Just something to hide from the rain and the sun. They tore down the old Sun Hotel and old Indian burial grounds. How the hell do you tear down Indian burial grounds?
You don't.
I don't know.
Fuck away from that.
How do you tear that down? Yeah, shit starts coming through your TV if you don't. Yeah. It's fucking weird.
You could pave over it, but they're going to come through it.
They're coming.
I believe it.
I believe it. 1 star. Chester is terrible. It is a terrible, dangerous wasteland of a city. Jesus.
Wasteland.
At least on the west side. Trash-strewn streets, dilapidated abandoned houses / buildings, and a god-awful stench rule the area. Gunshots are a frightening constant, and for certain, walk the neighborhood at your own risk. For certain, fucking head on a swivel.
Your own risk.
Watch out. The one positive is that our immediate neighbors are exceptionally nice. Oh, well, that's great. They're not going to shoot you. Someone else is.
That. Yeah.
And then finally, 1 star. Chester is extremely violent. I only go here for college. I would not recommend this area to anyone. So these aren't glowing reviews. Even the 5-star reviews, like, it's pretty shitty, you know. Population here, 32,819. So not a big place.
It's a good-sized place, but it's not tiny.
It's not a big place to have tons of gun violence. It seems odd for 32,000. That's a lot.
Of course, it's a burial ground. It's from the 1600s.
Yeah, no shit.
This is not a good place.
That was from before
land.
That. It's fucking weird. Median age here is lower than normal. 32.5 is the median age. It's usually about 38. There is a few more men than women in this town. Family here, it's about 20% married. It's 50-50 in the rest of the country. Yeah. So that's low. It's also a lot of younger people here. Mm-hmm. But single with children, normally 10% is normal.
Yeah. Single
with children is 42% here.
God damn.
So that's a lot. Race in this town, 16% white, 68.7% black, 0.8% Asian, 0.2% Native American, which we normally don't find in the East Coast there. 11.9% Hispanic. Unemployment rate here is super high too, and this has been ongoing since the 60s, the unemployment rate. There is not a lot of work in this area. Decent jobs, 14%, which is more than double the national average. Median household income here is about half the national average too, $35,751. That's household income.
Even if you're got a job.
Even if you have a job, there's no money. That's what I mean. Cost of living, 100 is average. Here it is 106. So it's not even that cheap.
It's not even affordable.
Except for the median home cost. That is cheap. Median home cost here, $92,000.
This close to Philly?
That close to Philly, 2 hours from New York City.
Oh my God.
92 grand. That's insane.
Wow.
Rest of the country, 338,000. So a little bit off on that. So if we've convinced you, damn it, you are ready. Your head's on a swivel. You're vested up. You look like Tupac shooting a video right now. You got your vest on. You're packing something.
Garlic around your neck or some shit.
But you never know. Vampires are a constant threat. We have for you the Chester, Pennsylvania Real Estate Report. Average 2-bedroom rental here goes for about $1,120 a month, which sounds like buying is your best option. That seems expensive. Here is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,200 square foot kind of shithole. Not a great. From the outside, it looks fine, I suppose. It's like a building more than a house. You know what I mean? Like a 2-story, but the inside is just trashed. Nothing's painted. There's, fucking shit on the walls, covering. It's a mess here. This house. It's on a 1,300 square foot lot, so it's not even a big lot.
You don't even have anything.
No, 1,300 square foot lot in a 1,200 square foot house. So
that's like a foot around halo around the house.
Not a lot of bumper space there in between there. $65,000 for that though.
Very affordable.
Very affordable. Well, I'll turn the screen quick. You can see. Look at the mess inside. It's a lot.
My.
That's a boarded up window. Like, that's not good, with pieces of the boards missing even.
Yeah.
Next up, this one's not much better. Look at this bad boy.
Oh, what? That is like an old taco shop.
It looks like you could get like an oil change there or something.
What is
looks
that?
like a bay door. It's a mess though. There's no windows. There's no anything. It's just an old brick structure that may or may not have sold tacos or mufflers in the last 50 years. 6-bedroom, 2-bath. 3,400 square foot.
God dang.
But I mean, it's a mess. There's not even I don't even know 6-bedroom. It doesn't even look like rooms. It looks like
there's
the
a
walls
lift
are missing.
and a deep fryer. Both.
Yeah, next to each other, which is a strange thing to do. You can, you can fix somebody's lube and fucking make them rolled tacos at the same time. 93 grand for this.
Wow.
93 grand. And they just cut it $7,000, by the way. It was $100,000.
So nobody wants this.
No, and the last one, the $65,000 one, just got cut $15,000.
James, we could buy
half of this town on
At
credit.
least a giant house.
At least if you got decent credit, you could buy half the town. And then finally, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,608 square feet. It's definitely, as you can see, the nicest looking house of the group. It's got a little yard.
Okay.
It's got a little yard here. Not a huge lot or anything, but it's decent on the inside. You know, not terrible. Put it that way. Livable. $323,000.
Not bad.
So that's where it is, though. If it's a livable house, it's going to be the normal price of a normal area. But if it's a shithole, you can get it real cheap.
If you're willing to do some work,
yeah, you can do it. Things to do here. Okay, let's find out what these people are up to. The Turk's Head Music Festival in Westchester. Not Westchester like New York, Westchester. A day-long celebration of local music, crafts, and great food.
Shit.
Oh, yeah. They have approximately 70 artists. They have, and vendor booths and all this type of shit.
Okay.
Throughout the day, 2 stages will feature 7 local bands. Oh, my God.
7 locals?
Kill me now. 7.
Oh, my.
7 bands worth of bad cover songs or bad originals. Either one. Or the same cover shit over and over again.
7 people singing shit you've never heard or something you've always heard.
Or Jimmy Buffett over and over again. Yeah. One of the two. Yeah, you're sick of hearing it. Bands include the Joe Kenny Band.
Yeah. Get after it, Joe.
Cordelia Blue.
Yeah.
Sounds like a defensive lineman, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Cordelia Blue
familiar.
out of Ole Miss. Yeah. He got drafted last year in the second round.
That might be why it sounds familiar.
The Stone Throwers.
No.
I don't know who that is. Untethered. Okay. Wild Bill and the Bruisers.
I like him already.
I was going to say, that's something there. Those sound like old men.
Sounds like your headliner, to be honest.
No, it's not. I believe I saw the picture, and this is a weird-looking band, if I'm thinking of the same band. This is like one guy who looks like an older guy who wears, like, suspenders and shit. Mm-hmm. And then another guy who's kind of chubby, and then another guy who looks like too young and slightly too good looking to hang out with the other two. It's a really weird looking band. I don't know what's going on. It's strange.
Handsome guy with no self-awareness. I like that.
Yeah, he's just hanging out with a couple of old dorks dressed up dorky, singing old dorky songs. Then the Dead Friends will be there.
Okay.
That sounds fun. And then the Blues Reincarnation Project. I think that's your headliner there.
Yeah.
So at least they tell you what's going on.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Belushi died, and they're still mad about it.
And they're still upset. The Blues Reincarnation Project. Special appearance by Dan Aykroyd, annoying you for some reason. That was a weird thing, man. In like the 70s, after the Blues Brothers, like all these fucking white famous actors wanting to be blues singers. Kevin Bacon and fucking Bruce Willis had a fucking blues album. All these people. My God. So that's probably the only thing he remembers. He's all sick at this point. He probably remembers, I made a terrible album in like 86. It was so bad. Why'd I do that?
I want to forget just that and nothing else.
Just that and nothing else.
And all I remember is that.
Drop that, keep Die Hard. How about that? So crime rate of this town, what we are interested in here, property crime is only slightly above the national average, not too much higher than the national average. Violent crime, though, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is about 3.5 times the national average.
My God.
That is, so those reviews were not bullshitting. That's one of the higher.
They don't fuck with petty crime around here.
That's what I mean. They won't steal your shit. They'll just kill you and leave you with a wallet in your pocket. This is crazy. It's a crazy town. We haven't heard much of that before. That's one of the highest rates we've ever heard in 600 episodes on this show. So that said, let's talk about some murder, damn it. Let's do this. Let's start out by talking about a young lady here, okay? A very cool, kind of badass young lady. Amy, and it's A-I-M-E-E.
Oh.
This is Amy. They all call her AIM, I guess. That's a nickname. Yeah. Amy Ellen Willard. L-L-A-R-D. Willard.
Yeah.
She's born June 8th, 1974. Amy is. Yeah. And she's the youngest of 3 kids. And she, good family too, kind of a very, she comes from like this is like the typical, like real good blue collar stock. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Her mom's a nurse. Her dad's a police officer. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't get more like
much more public servant than that.
We got steady jobs. Damn it. Yeah. We have insurance. Like, you know,
and we get good deals on prescriptions.
Yep. We're not going to live in a mansion, but God damn it, those 2 7-year-old cars are paid off in that driveway. You son of a bitch. Like that's
We got antibiotics that aren't expired in the medicine cabinet.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, we don't just get them from like our friends when they forgot to take all of them, like I used to do. Remember when you gave me your old antibiotics when I was sick before I had health insurance? I was like, awesome, sweet. So I was just taking.
Take them before all they do is give you diarrhea.
I was taking them because Jimmy wasn't responsible enough to take his whole prescription. Lucky for me, so I got to not die of whatever I had at the time. So that was really good.
I skipped a few of these and got healthy before they ran out.
That was good stuff. So he gave them to me. I got to benefit from that. So these guys don't have to do that, though, I feel like. So good shit here. Gail is her mom, Gail Willard, and then her dad is Paul Willard. He is a police officer in Chester, and her mom is a nurse at Riddle Memorial Hospital in Lima, Pennsylvania. Paul, dad, is a kind of a real respected guy in the community because not only was he an officer, he became the police captain of the Chester Police Department, too. So very, higher up in the local police department. For a small town, that's a big wig. You know what I mean? That's a high roller.
Integrity and dignity, this guy. Yep.
Yeah, and he's from this area, too. Like, he was born in Chester and raised there and shit. His dad and mom both graduated from the local high school in Chester. Like, they're
through and through.
Yeah, they have a long history here. They both earned degrees, by the way, from Penn State University. Wow. Or no, he went to Penn State, and I think she went to Delaware Technical Community College. Wow. So both parents college graduates as well. Yeah. So now her parents get divorced, Paul and Gail, but apparently it didn't affect the relation. They stayed very good friends and very close. It was one of those, look, we got married young. Yeah. Neither of us want this. Let's not fuck the kids up type of thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let's try to get along here. So they did, and they lived close to each other. The kids saw both parents all the time, and they and didn't talk bad about each other or anything. So that's a good thing.
Very responsible.
Yeah, Amy had a nice family, basically. And Amy, she just does her shit. She's a really good athlete, several sports, and she has a lot of confidence, and just one of these kids that's just, raring to go. Yeah. When you'd see those kids, remember in high school, you'd see those kids that just had, like, not just confidence in social settings or whatever. They had confidence that, like, they had life figured out and knew what they were doing, and, like, they probably knew how to fill out, like, a college application and knew where to get the papers to do that and stuff. Where, like, me and you, I think people, we just looked at those people like, wow, how do you have it together like that? Like,
I didn't even know where the SAT.
No,
I don't know the difference between the ACTs and the SATs.
I didn't know when you were supposed to show up for things. I didn't know that you were supposed to. I didn't know any of that shit. I just didn't know.
I think that's the counselor's responsibility.
I think also your parents, and neither of my parents went to college either, so neither of them knew what to do. They were just like, don't have them call us and be mad because you did something wrong.
Don't get me arrested for not showing up, you dick.
That was it. That's all it was. That was my dad's main rule. I don't want anybody calling me for any reason. Don't have grades bad enough.
Not the school, but also not the cops.
Nobody.
Neither of those.
Just nobody calling me. If I'm home and I'm sitting here, I don't want to be bothered with whatever you did wrong at another time.
About you.
That was all it was. As long as there's no calls, I'm fine. I'm not in trouble, which is good. So she, though, was one of these kids that you'd look at and just be like, man, how do they do that? You know what I mean? Like, they just know how to do stuff. And I was always impressed with those kids. I don't know. She was a star lacrosse and soccer player at Notre Dame de Namur, which is an all-girls private high school in Villanova, Pennsylvania. So good parents. They're sending this kid to, like, a really good school, and it's like, college prep school, and she's getting all these scholarship offers for her athletics.
The name of the school is in another language, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, it sounds fancy. I
don't even know the name of your school.
Yeah, if my friend told me they were going there, I'd be like, whoa, that sounds like we can't afford that. That doesn't sound good at all. Like, that sounds tough.
Feels like it's probably more advanced than my public education.
That's the other thing. I don't know if I can hang there. So her friends recalled her as very, very competitive and also very kind, competitive in sports, but kind in personal, things. One said equally important were lessons to us off the field. She was genuine and loyal and the best listener you could want when you had a problem. So that's kind of who she is. A kid that's really got her shit together. in her teenage years, which, again, blows my mind. Don't know how the hell they can do that. I was nowhere near having anything together till I was at least 30.
Exactly.
And still, that's precarious as shit, really. 40 is really where it was like, oh, I think I understand some stuff now.
30, I had my second kid, and I was like, oh, no, I can't
me
do
too.
I'm supposed to do this by now?
Me too. Yeah, I feel like I should know more having 2 kids now. I feel like I should have a lot more together that I don't have.
Yeah.
So her athletic accomplishments and good grades and everything else, and just being a hell of a young lady here, gets her a scholarship to play lacrosse and soccer at George Mason University.
That's good, right?
Mason? Yeah, it's a Division I school. They're in the tournament sometimes in basketball. This is down in Fairfax, Virginia. Okay. Full ride. I mean,
wow,
that's awesome. Again, mind-blowing.
4 years.
Mind-blowing, so she plays both in college at George Mason, but lacrosse is where she really excels. Sure. Really good. By her junior year, she led the Colonial Athletic Association in scoring and assists.
Wow.
So she's leading the whole division in scoring and assists, and she was named one of the top 25 female lacrosse players in the United States by Lacrosse Monthly or whatever the fuck publication.
Somebody that looked after that shit.
Young Ladies Lacrosse Monthly. That's a quarterly. They sell a lot of big circulation there on that one. Yeah. So she set school records leading the CAA, Colonial Athletic Association, in scoring with 50 goals and 29 assists in 1996. We don't have a lot of small-town murder people who have sports stats to read off. That's weird.
No.
She's also named to the all-conference team in both soccer and lacrosse, and earned all regional All-American honors in lacrosse as well. So she's pretty awesome, basically.
No doubt.
So she's breaking school records for scoring, doing awesome. She's majoring in physical education and wanted to become a high school coach. That's what she wanted to do. She wanted to be a teacher and a high school lacrosse coach, which for someone like her, she could do. That's really nice that she wants to do that. That shows she's
public
kind.
Servant shit again.
She could make a lot more. And that's also her parents are cop and a nurse. And so that kind of runs in the family probably of, what you do is more important than making $1 million a year or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
It's a pretty cool gig, too, to go to school for something that you love to do. And you're getting an education for free and having fun while doing it. And then when you get out, you get to show other people the fun that you had.
And if you're a kid who was in sports and you had a coach that helped you a lot and inspired you, then maybe you'd want to go back and do that, too, for somebody else. And, kind of.
And loves this thing. Like that. Our football coach, I don't feel like loved football.
No. None of our coaches loved anything. They hated their lives.
He probably loved football, just not this team. Any other team but this one.
Our basketball coach taught social studies, and in his social studies class, it was just portraits of Bobby Knight everywhere, the crazy ex-Indiana coach. That's who he thought he was. He wore red sweaters and shit, even though our colors were blue at our school. Awesome. He was a total tool, this guy. And I remember, I'll never forget, at junior prom, he was one of the chaperones.
Yeah.
And I saw him. You ever catch somebody just in a spot where they didn't expect they don't think they're in their own world and bubble? He had his hands in his pocket, leaning against the wall, staring at the corner of the ceiling, mouthing the words to "Oh, What a Night" as it played. Late December, and I saw, but no joy at all on his face. Just wasted
Dead
years. It was watching a 48-year-old man just completely realize he's done his life totally wrong and he hates himself for it. And I remember seeing that, and it gave me such strength to be like, fuck that guy. I don't know what it was, but I don't know what. Watching his pain gave me strength. I don't know why.
You hate him.
I did. I hated him. He's a douchebag. He was a total tool. He was an asshole, this guy. Jerk off.
So happy he's tortured that he has to watch young children grind against each other at a look over the shoulder so nobody sees that I have an erection.
He hated me.
That's his life. God damn it.
He hated me. I was a wise ass, so I get it.
I never went to either prom. I didn't get to see what any of those fucking teachers do at a prom.
Oh, it was wild to watch, man. that was the ultimate people watching experience, the prom. 'Cause I'm not going to dance and shit like that. So I basically am just going to scope out this as a weird, like an alien. I'm going to watch this social experiment and see what the hell happens. And it was, I found the teachers to be fascinating to watch during the prom because they were, this is like on their own time and shit. They don't want to be here.
Plus, I hope they're getting paid overtime for this shit.
We're like full of life with like nothing but possibilities before us. We might get laid tonight, and these people are just
booze in here and maybe a blowjob too. Who knows?
They're just standing there looking like fucking wasted my whole life on these idiots. Great, these dumb kids.
What a night.
Oh, what a night. I'll never forget it playing. I'll never fucking forget it. That was so long ago. I'll never forget it. So June of 1996. Yeah. Coincidentally, when my senior prom was. So there you go.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So Amy is home from college at that point.
Yeah.
She gets home from college in between junior and senior year, I believe. So, yeah, that's what she's doing here. And she comes home for the summer, hang out. She's not going to sit in Virginia. It's hot down there.
Right.
So that's what she's doing. Just kind of kicking around town and hanging out with her high school friends. What people do when they come home from college. So June 19th, 1996, they decide they're going to go out that night and go to a bar.
Yeah.
She's 21 or whatever, 22 at this point. She just turned 22 like 11 days earlier. And they're going to go to a bar called Smoky Joe's.
It's a good bar. Yeah.
Let's go on down to Smoky Joe's, everybody. Yeah. So Smoky Joe's, when she came, she's never been to Smoky Joe's before.
First time.
And when she came home, she rarely went out, basically. She didn't really go out and do things. Like she'd have, go have lunch with a friend or something, but she wasn't big on going out because her parents wanted her home so they could hang out with her, which is, I guess, nice, but also a little much. As a 22-year-old, you're like, okay,
well, maybe
getting old, but also at the same time, she's going to be graduating next year. Who knows if she'll stay in this area or whatever? Sure. So maybe you want to spend as much time with your parents as possible. But that night, her friends talk her into it. Let's go to Smoky Joe's, damn it.
Here we go.
So she drives her mom's car, her mom Gail's car, to go out that night. And by the way, Smoky Joe's, let me read you a review of Smoky Joe's real quick.
I'd love to hear it, yeah.
This is 1 star. 1 star. It's next to Penn. It has alcohol. Those are the only two reasons I can think of that you should ever want to enter this place. If you don't live in the area, it's not worth making the trek out here. It's also expensive and dark inside, and the pictures are watered down. So there's a
pictures of beer?
Pitchers of beer are watered down. They're college kids probably. So, take this $4 pitcher, you dummy.
Yeah.
There you go. And it's Penn, too, so they're real smart kids. So you're like, fuck you with your Ivy League education. Here's your pitcher of beer, asshole.
This tastes like somebody added San Pellegrino to it.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little more bubbly than normal. So the owner responds, yes, we are next to Penn. Yes, we are. We have alcohol. No, you don't get to affectionately call us Smokes.
What?
Now, I don't know if he means the bar or
us.
Meaning, that's
us.
what I mean. Meaning us, meaning people. And because he uses a cap, I don't know. And if you think of us as expensive in any possible way, then I absolutely need to know where on God's green earth did you come from and how can I move there? So that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So at 10:30 p.m., that's when they get to Smoky Joe's. They're going to hang out. Smoky Joe's bar. It's in Wayne, Pennsylvania. And, not too far. She lives in Brookhaven, so it's not too far from there even. At about 1:40 a.m. here, she leaves. About 3 hours hanging out. Yeah. So she's driving. She heads for Interstate 476. She's driving her mom's blue 95 Honda Civic. So reasonably new car.
Not bad, yeah.
Not bad.
Decent car.
Okay, so that's where she's seen leaving the parking lot, heading in that direction. Mm-hmm. Then about 2 a.m., there's an emergency ambulance crew that is not like on the way to a call. I don't know if they're on their way back from a call or on their way from picking up fucking Burger King or what they're doing, but they're out in the area and they see on the exit ramp of the interstate that leads onto Route 1 here, they see a car, a blue Honda Civic, 1995, just abandoned on the side of the road.
Okay.
Now that would be nothing except that the door is open, the engine is running, the headlights and the interior lights are on, and the radio's blasting. But there's nobody around the car.
Weird.
So that doesn't look normal by any stretch of the imagination. No one leaves their car like that and walks. So even if you ran out of gas, well, the engine's running, so that's not even it. There's no reason to do that whatsoever. There's nobody like pissing in a bush over there or anything like that's what I would see. Like, who had to take a leak and you're looking in the bushes, but there's nobody there. So
they usually don't leave the lights on so that everybody can see it.
No, and leave the door open.
Shut the door so the dome light goes on.
Exactly. So it was real weird. And the driver's side door's open. Everything's on. It makes no sense. They do notice on the back of the car, there's an abrasion on the back of the car on the back bumper.
Okay,
looks like it got hit, but they don't know if that happened just now and that's why they pulled over, or if that's from 3 months ago. Who the hell knows?
Last winter, yeah.
They drove in Philly one night, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some bump and rub traffic. It happens.
Sure, yeah.
Then, as they're looking around, then they discover something that kind of lets them know that this isn't just a car problem. There's a pool of blood on the ground in front of the vehicle with drops of blood leading away from it.
Oh, no.
And then no more. And then they disappear. The drop trail ends, and that's that. Then they find near the pool of blood a tire iron as well.
Oh.
Yes, with blood on it, obviously. So this isn't looking good at this point. No. You see everything open. Looks like someone's been dragged out of their car, hit with a tire iron, and then pulled away and obviously put into another vehicle where the blood drops end. You know, I'm not a cop or I'm not a homicide detective, but that looks pretty goddamn clear if I'm putting that together.
Pretty easy, yeah.
Yeah. If I was writing a scene where I wanted that to be the impression, this is exactly how I'd put it. You know what I mean? So they're looking here. They also find tire impressions in the area as well. They find they take tire impressions from tracks they find right near where the end of the blood trail is. Okay, So they're thinking that might have something to do with the car. It looks like where the other car was. Now, the ambulance driver who found this mess said, I found some blood in front of the car. I found a stone with blood on it in front of the car. On the guardrail, there appeared to be some blood splattered next to the car. We later had an interpretation done of the blood pattern in front of the car, and we learned that it appeared as though someone had been laying on the ground for a brief time in front of the car.
Oh.
They did they looked at it. The crime scene says that this person was violently attacked in a very fast mode, meaning that they were hit very quickly as far as the violence was concerned, and then they were extricated from that site very quickly. This person didn't stay around long. Okay. You can tell that by how much blood and the fact that it's still dripping and that kind of thing. Now, number one, anybody who's going to want to take Amy, I would think is going to have to do it violently.
Yeah.
You ever seen lacrosse?
Yeah, those
lacrosse
can really. Yeah,
it's a tough sport.
Shoulders and legs, man.
Dude, they got thigh and soccer. She's probably got thighs on her that you'd kick you in the balls and send you to the moon. Like you got to fucking be. You know, she's not a dainty wafy girl. She's known as a tomboy who's one of the best lacrosse players in the country. She'll kick your goddamn ass if you're not careful.
Just smuggle that girl. Yeah.
No, she's not going to just go with her legs and arms flailing as you carry her away under your arm. She's going to you're going to have to fight her.
She's going to kick like a mule. Yeah.
I would hope so. Yeah, she's a soccer player, for Christ's sake. She knows how to kick, too. So unless you're wearing a cup, you better be careful. Now, next to the car was the impression of a tire, which was photographed. And then the forensic experts came in and made a cast of the impression, which was sent to a lab as well to have on file in case they find anybody. So the damage to the vehicle in the back, the bumper damage, coupled with all of this, makes it look like that maybe she was the victim of a carjacking. Sure. And they find out later that bumper was not damaged when she took the car that night. So it happened that night. They just had to ask her mom, you get any bumper damage? No. Amy's father said, I noticed because it was my car. I thought it was Amy's mother's car, but I guess it's her father's. Okay. I noticed because it was my car and I knew everything about my car. And I had pointed out to the police possibly that at that traffic light, right where she was going to turn off the 476 on-ramp onto the Route 1 on-ramp, there's a traffic light right there. I believe that's where someone would have bumped her car. Now, her dad's a police captain, so he's not looking at this as, a dad. He is, but he's also looking at it like, I told the cops, 1 + 2 = fucking 3 here. Like, let's do something. Yeah. So that's what he thinks. He thinks she was at the light. Somebody bumped her car, causing her to get out of the car to look at the damage. And then they came up and, clocked her on the head with some, take her away. So now the Next morning, here, about a half mile from where Amy's car was found, police find some other things here.
What do they got?
They find a pair of underwear and a pair of sneakers.
Oh, I don't like that.
That are Amy's size.
Yeah.
It's a pair of women's underwear with a pad in it. So, okay, yeah, which I guess would be good because you can tell there's going to be DNA there. You know what I mean? Right, you know exactly who they belong to. The sneakers are identified as belonging to Amy, and so are the underwear identified as being the size she wears anyway. Sure. So if it's by her shoes, it's probably her.
Pretty good deduction, yeah.
Now, hairs found on the pad were consistent with her hair as well. So that's another thing. Now, the underwear weren't soiled with dirt at all. They weren't wet. They were dry, and so were the shoes.
Oh.
Which is odd. It didn't even like dew or it's June in Pennsylvania. Everything's wet in the morning in June in Pennsylvania. Yeah. So that's odd. They're a little bit concerned about that. And it rained too between the time that she was taken and the time they found this. It had rained.
Okay.
So one of the detectives said, it appeared to me as though those items had been brought back after the rain, which would have meant they were brought back after her car was found.
Oh.
Someone, whoever did this, came back to the scene that her car was found very close by and put these items there.
Out. Yeah.
Well after the fact, after the whole crime scene had been wrapped up.
Wow.
So, because otherwise you wouldn't want to go there while every goddamn detective and everybody else in the world is there. You're not going to go there and throw shit down. So that is ballsy. Right away, that takes the psychological profile of whoever the hell did this to another level, because that's a lot of balls.
Yeah, yeah.
Whole lot of balls. Just to not even think maybe there's someone still keeping an eye on it or no paranoia. So they do an investigation here, obviously, because if this is what it looks like, first of all, they haven't found Amy yet.
Right.
But they did find blood and her underwear and sneakers, and that's not a good sign. So, this is, if it looks like what it looks like, there's a very, very dangerous person walking around. So
yeah, and you
scary as
walk
fuck.
Away. Even if all that other shit's a coincidence, you don't walk away from your dad's car.
That's the other thing that you borrowed.
With lights on. Yeah, right.
Especially when you're being respectful your whole life, and now you're going to be like, fuck Dad's car, Dad. I'm going to the party. That's not going to happen. Oh shit, I'm bleeding.
Me, I'm better than you.
Yeah, nope. That's not what happened, right? It's crazy. So it's not way out of character for Amy. She's not doing that. So the detectives screen video surveillance tapes from stores and bank ATMs near Smokey Joe's bar to try to see if they pick anything up. And this is 96, so there's security cameras at businesses and things, but this isn't just cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Not everybody has a camera.
And that footage bounces. It's like...
Oh, it's terrible.
It's the worst.
It's shitty, grainy. I mean, they're just hoping to see her and maybe see a car follow her or something. That's all they're looking for. But
and it's like 6 frames per minute rather than seconds.
Yeah, they jump ahead too. Yeah. So they find though that none of the film footage has Amy anywhere on it. So she didn't stop at any ATMs or stores near the bar that evening. Okay. So they're basically asking anyone with information about this to come forward and tell us, basically. If you know anything, if you saw her that night, if you saw a car on the side of the road and people talking, whatever it is. Yeah. So forward someone comes here.
Yeah.
Andrew Kobach is his name. Kobak. Kobach.
Yeah.
He's 23 years old, and he is the son of a pretty goddamn wealthy stockbroker.
Okay.
He's a pretty upper crusty kind of a rich kid here.
Son of a broker.
Son of a broker, lives in a big old house with a circular driveway and all that shit. Real fancy guy. He graduated from Harriton High School, then went to work for a tow truck company. Yeah. That tells me, rather than be a success, I've decided to wait Dad out. That's what that is. He'll die someday. and then I'll move into that house and I'll just have what he has and not work for tow trucks anymore. I've seen people do this. People who come
Dad
from
did great for the both of us.
Yep. I've seen people do this, man. Like come from affluent families, and I'm like, you're waiting your dad out, aren't you?
Generational wealth is just his and mine. That's it.
Eventually, I'll get it.
I'll run through it.
Yep. And this is the type of guy, too, like his dad will die and he'll find out that he left it all to like charity or something, and then he'll blow his fucking brains out. Yeah. Some
and
crazy
the housekeeper
shit.
gets the dog.
This is for the housekeeper to take care of my 3 cats. That's what this is for.
That's fucked up.
So Andrew Michael Kobach comes forward, and the cops know this guy, by the way.
Yeah.
They've known him a little bit here. Years earlier, he was accused of impersonating a police officer.
Oh, Kobach.
The cops say that he would turn a siren on, instruct the driver to pull over, and you do it at night, so people just see a siren and they pull over. And then he would show them a badge, and he would say, "Do you know why I pulled you over, ma'am?" Because inevitably it was always a woman, never a man he pulled over.
Yeah.
And he'd say, "There's a stop sign back there. You went right through it." He'd do this. He did this several times. This was his MO here.
Wow.
So somebody was suspicious. One of these motorists he pulled over, one of these ladies, and turned him in.
Good.
And saw his car drive away, got his license plate, all that. But he was never charged for some reason.
So what does he do? What's the point?
I don't know if he's trying to meet women this way.
Yeah.
Or if this is to get the balls up to try to, because this is a thing that a serial killer would do. So they don't know if it's the beginning steps of getting the balls up to actually abduct somebody from this situation.
Or assault somebody in some way. Yeah.
In some way, they don't know. So, but he was never charged with anything, which is very odd.
He's not given tickets or anything. He's just...
No. He's just telling him you ran through that stop sign. We give you a warning there.
All right,
it's just to have control over a woman, it seems like to me. Like that's psychologically, I would imagine. I'm not a fucking, obviously a psychiatrist, but so so the cops knowing that about him and seeing him come forward, they're like, we don't like that, because that's sort of probably what happened to her.
Yeah.
Somebody got her to pull over, and maybe he just, rather than the siren, that draws a lot of attention. Maybe he decided to do a little bump, and that'll get him out of the car the same way. So he comes forward and said he'd been driving on Route 476 on the night Amy disappeared, and he said he saw something suspicious in the vicinity of her car as well.
Okay.
So they went, "You are 100% a suspect right now in this fucking, obviously. If you're inserting yourself into this investigation, knowing your past, you are right on our radar, right up front here." So they said the first reason is his criminal history, obviously. Then he also, not only that, he just kind of the nature of how he did that was creepy and suspect. And also he just seems a little bit too fucking interested. That's the other thing.
Yeah, he's too...
This isn't a good friend of Amy's or somebody that'd be like, I'm going to help find her. This is what criminals do a lot of times. I mean, they insert themselves into the investigation because they want to know where it stands and all that kind of shit. So this is a very weird, unforced error that a lot of murderers do, is to insert themselves. They look less guilty if they're helping search for the body and whatever the fuck their plan is. I don't know. So they said they described his interest as an overzealous interest in the case, including, they said, he showed up to the crime scene shortly after her car was found as well.
Oh.
And then came forward the next day to talk to them too.
You were there last night.
But then later on, he'll deny that he was ever at the crime scene, even though there's police notes of this guy showed up and said this at the time. So that's interesting. And it was also discovered that the tow truck company he worked for was 3 blocks from something we'll find later on here. So he knows this area. He knows all of the areas. The one he was in the area the car was found, and then he's in another area that is very interesting to this investigation. So, and that is June 20th, 1996. So the next day, that day later, they found her. They found the car at 2 a.m. So later on that day, about 5 p.m. Okay. They figure out that about 3 blocks from where the tow truck company is near in a vacant, trash-strewn lot at 16th Street and Indiana Avenue. Here, I'll let a kid describe it. A kid was there playing.
Boy.
Picturing Goodfellas when they're all playing by the under the bridge there. They're playing stickball and they find fucking they find fucking Johnny Roast Beef and his wife in the Cadillac, and Layla starts to play. Yeah, the second fucking verse of Layla. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Well, this kid said, quote, "I sniffed and smelled something. Then I saw it and I ran."
Yeah.
It is Amy's body that they find.
No.
She is naked, face down, with 2 plastic bags covering her head.
Yeah.
This is a horrifying way for this. This is terrible. This is ridiculous. Yeah. This is a nice girl. She doesn't deserve to be dumped in a fucking lot like that. That's awful. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Dump someone in a fucking river at least. At least there's something to that. Yeah. This is just awful.
A barrier in between eyes and all the other senses.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some cultures that used to throw their dead in the river as some sort of sign of respect. It's something, but nobody said, "Let's leave grandma in this trash-strewn lot with her ass out." You know what I mean? With a bag over her head. That's just disrespectful.
Yeah, the burial at sea was done for a reason.
Exactly. So one of a homicide detective here with the Philadelphia Police Department, Jeff Peary, he described what he found here. This is from his report. So this is pretty graphic here. Quote, "The body has numerous bruises and abrasions all over the body." You didn't need to say body twice, but that's fine. Yeah. "There are severe head wounds to the front of the head, and the right nostril is sliced open." Yikes. Why? It's just torture. Yeah. It's awful. "There's a large gaping wound into her skull and the forehead and the back of the head, as may show a type of crushing from apparently multiple blows to the same area in the back of the head, which the brain, I believe, was basically exposed at that point." Beat her fucking skull open, literally. Just beat her with something. They don't know. Yeah. So she had a pattern of burning type markings on her right flank and under her right arm from some type of element that was hot that would cause burning of the skin. Some sort of like a brand almost, but not a brand, no letters or anything, but
just a hot poker.
Like a hot plate almost, because it's a big area. There, we'll talk about it because they figure out what that is. "There were bruises and abrasions which appear to be defense wounds on the inside of the right arm and on the right wrist. There were drag marks on her back and on her shoulders. I think the inside of her lip was split. There were 3 or 4 definite aligned bruised abrasions across the lower part of her spine, as if she was being dragged down something on a hard surface, over several steps or off something hard and onto something hard." Yeah. So down steps, concrete steps or curbs even could be. She had on her right, I believe it was her right side, her buttocks area between the waist and the upper part of the lower part of the hip in a 6-inch square, 2 large, long drag mark cuts from some type of object she was dragged over. They were almost square and rectangular, just surgically implanted, but they were basically dragged over something that was a patterned object that tore the skin from her. There was a cut over her right eye. Again, the forehead, there were 2 severe cuts that penetrated the skull. And that's not all the physical horrors that were inflicted upon her as well here. The medical examiner decides the victim's injuries included multiple blunt force injuries to the head, brain, and face, an abraded contusion on her left shoulder and upper chest, a rectangular-shaped contusion beneath her left breast, a patterned angular thermal injury, meaning a burn, resembling a flower petal on her right lower chest and upper abdomen. Numerous fractures in her neck. Think about this, man. She's been killed 4 fucking times over. Yeah. Bruises on her left and right thighs, and defensive wounds on her left and right forearms. There was intact degenerate sperm. I don't know what that means medically, but whoever did this is certainly a fucking degenerate, putting degenerate sperm in people. Yeah, that's one thing I would say. Look at you, even just
Found him gambling on horses.
Yeah, just sitting outside flipping a nickel, eating a toothpick, gambling
on dogs,
gambling on the long shot.
That's a degenerate. Gambling on greyhounds.
At the long shot dog over at the Downs there. That's not good. Okay, so there was intact degenerate sperm found in the vaginal cavity. In addition, this is just horrifying. Yeah. There was a tree branch that had been forced into her vagina that was left there. Yes, that's how she was found, with a tree branch.
What's the point of that?
Sticking out. We've had that a few times on this show.
I don't get it.
It's weird because
it's clearly the most humiliating and horrific thing you can do.
Yeah. Well, just from books I've read, this is odd because just from books I've read, usually when this is done, there's usually a guy who can't sexually perform and can't rape like he wants to.
Yeah.
So he does this out of anger, and then maybe will can jerk off afterwards on them or something. Wow. That they'll find sperm on them. But to find sperm in her and then have him do is a very fucking weird and very shows the level of anger and violence I think that
furious
is going on here toward women, at least this woman. You know what I mean? There was no blood surrounding or beneath the body or leading up to or away from the body. So she wasn't killed here by far.
Yeah.
Well dead. No bleeding. It stopped everything, indicating she was not killed on the site, but rather had been killed elsewhere, then moved. So less than 24 hours. Now, one of the things where she's identified very quickly, because they obviously think it's her, but she has a Nike logo tattooed on her ankle, and that was one of the things that her parents said, Nike logo tattooed on ankle. So that
very 96,
very 96, just do it is her whole thing in life, and I could see her being like, yeah, man, just do it,
Yeah,
it just seemed like her attitude, spirit type of deal.
A lot of people that had one.
Oh yeah, that was a big deal in the 90s to get a Nike tattoo or a Wu-Tang logo, either one. That was the two that were pretty big. So the medical examiner talks about all of this and said that, they said that it looked like she'd been struck in the head multiple times with a rough, hard implement, causing fractures going all the way through the top of her skull, side of her skull, and inside and bottom of her skull.
Yeah.
As a result of these injuries, which would have required what they said was a great deal of force, she suffered massive brain injuries because of that. So awful. Also, technically here, a lot of abrasions, lacerations, and contusions to her face, a torn frenulum, which is
that's that piece between
your nose. Yeah. That sad girls get
no.
cow rings on.
That's the septum. The frenulum is that piece that connects your lip to your gums.
Oh, that's that. That's right. That's what that is. Yeah, you're right.
That's fucked up.
That's and her nostril too. They said so.
Yeah.
An abraded contusion on her left shoulder and upper chest area, resembling a heel print or tire.
Yeah.
Bruises over her upper abdomen and lower chest area, an abraded contusion beneath her left breast, a thermal pattern like we talked about. They also said her hyoid bone, which sits very high up in the neck and is very hard to injure, was fractured. So as if beating her skull in until her brains came out wasn't enough, you got to strangle her too. Jesus Christ, man, that is hardcore. Was fractured, and bruising, scrapes, and hemorrhaging in the neck area indicated a throttling injury resulting from someone gripping the neck strongly, perhaps multiple times. Wow, that's horrifying. I mean, she put up a fight, number one, as you would expect. But this is horrifying. I mean, this is every piece of her. There's nothing on her that's not bruised or scratched or injured in some way, shape, or form. Just beaten throughout her whole body.
Horrific.
Skull bashed in, sexually mutilated. Like there's it's all horrifying. Yeah. Horrifying.
There's no calm. This is just a violent evening.
That is
or
awful.
However fucking long they had them.
Yeah, and it's not for purpose. Like any one of these things would render her in a state where you could do whatever gross thing you were wanting to do. I don't understand the killing her 3 times over bit. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So, and I can imagine, and here's Amy's father talking, it wouldn't make much sense to them either. He said that was the hardest day of the whole thing, not knowing where she was. There was more of a relief when they found her body in Philadelphia. that I had her back, that we could help find out what happened to her. Nobody could bring her back to life, but at least I had her. Right. Which is that's so, as a parent, a really hard place to get to.
Terrible place to rest, too, and be, like, satisfied with in the circumstances.
Absolutely. So the result of the autopsy, she's 5'2", 120 pounds, too. So tough or not, she's small.
You have to do that.
I mean, she is tough or whatever, but I mean, that's still small enough to where a bigger person could physically dominate them regardless. You know what I mean? I could put you in the ring with a 120-pound MMA fighter. You'd probably kick his ass. You know what I mean? In the end. If you're having 50, 60 pounds on someone's a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
You just pummeled his face. You'd probably... Because you could like pick his little body up if he tried to latch onto you and just smash it against something.
I'd probably
so
grab
small
him by the neck.
That's what I mean. Like if he tried to do one of those, I'm wrapped around you, I just pick his ass up and bash him against something till he fell off because that's too small to fight me. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to make obviously jokes about her, but if this was like, that's a small person. So the cause of death is multiple blunt force injuries to her head and face. Medical examiner estimated she died about 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, there is no exact science, obviously, to this. So the best you're going to do is about 4 hours in each direction.
Yeah.
Kind of a deal. But either way, they're thinking she was killed well after she was abducted. Someone took her and had some time with her first. Yeah. And then dumped her. There. Incapacitated her at the scene, took her to wherever he wanted to take her to, did whatever he wanted to do to her, and then dumped her off in that alley. So they're thinking in that lot. So they're thinking there's 3 separate scenes here, basically. They said they also thought that this was a crime of kind of a momentary crime of convenience, of opportunity. Yeah, that type of thing. Sure. They also said they think possibly that they may have known each other. Not well, but he might have seen her. This wasn't the first time they've encountered each other, they think, too. They don't know. They think, well, that was the first thing. It's like, is this a momentary thing or did somebody stalk her? We don't know.
It's fucked up to want to do anything like that after you've already injured her enough to make make a person bleed. And then from there, you do other things. That's crazy.
Because it seems like the first bashing of the skull in was the first thing that happened at the car. Because that's where a big pool of blood is.
Right.
And that would incapacitate her to be able to take her other places.
And then do anything else? That's fucked up, man.
Yeah. And it seems like the strangling is maybe because she wasn't dying fast enough from whatever else he was doing. I don't know. So, and the other thing that's the real mystery here is the burn pattern. She's got a weird burn pattern on her upper body, and they can't figure it out. They can't connect it to anything. It's a pattern, so it's obviously you match it with whatever did it, but they don't know what did that. And they can't figure it out, which is really difficult here to do. They're going to end up figuring it out, though. It's pretty crazy. So they also complete their analysis of the tire impressions at the scene, too, and we'll find out about that. Now, this is how popular her family is and how popular she is and what a big deal this is in this area. Her funeral was attended by 4,000 people.
God dang.
4,000. That's so many fucking people. Yeah. Like, we've done a show for 2,100 people. Yeah. That seemed like so many people. Imagine double that because you died.
Right.
That's amazing to me. Incredible.
It's a lot of people to care.
That's wild. Her college lacrosse team wore their uniforms and formed an honor guard with their lacrosse sticks as her casket was carried down the church steps. I mean, and terribly sad. Jesus Christ, this girl had her whole life, her whole future ahead of her. I mean, she was going to her senior year. She was going to be, the world is her oyster, man. So back to Andrew Kobach, the guy who came forward and said, hi, I want to tell you some stuff. And then they found out that, so he came forward and said, hi. Yeah. I want to tell you some stuff. Then they found out that, so he was at the scene where where the car was, and then they found out his tow yard is 3 blocks from where the body's found.
Oh, boy.
So they're very interested in him. So now right away, they say him going back to the scene is characteristic of people who commit crimes sometimes, so they didn't like that. And the return to the vicinity of it, maybe to get a feel of what's going on. So they search his vehicle and home, okay? In his vehicle, number one, he has Firestone 440 13-inch tires, often found on small compact cars, very common tire.
Yeah.
His car does not have those tires. That's the tire they're looking for.
Okay.
So his tire does not have that tire pattern.
13-inch tires.
13-inch, yeah, 440 13-inch for a little tiny car. That's what you get.
Or Dayton's.
Or Dayton's, one of the two. Or Old Dog from fucking Menace to Society. One of the two is going to be there.
Looking for a guy in a Lincoln.
Yeah.
On 13.
We're looking for a guy in a Fox Body Mustang is what we're looking for here. Gonna get carjacked.
Gold wire 13.
Cold wire 13-inch Dayton's, baby. Pow!
Yeah.
So a search of his vehicle and home uncovered some weird shit, including police-related paraphernalia,
right,
handcuffs, and a flashlight.
You son of a bitch.
That's not good at all. But his tires don't match.
Broker. Yeah.
So he agrees to the search of his car. They found the handcuffs in the glove compartment and a 5-cell flashlight, which is the big cop flashlight,
Right.
the big
The
beat you with it,
Mag-Light.
mag light. They also noticed the interior of the car was unkempt except for the rearmost cargo area, which appeared to have just been cleaned.
Oh.
None of this is good for him, looking back.
No.
In the middle of the search, because it was a consent, they didn't have a warrant. They came to him and he gave consent.
Sure.
In the middle of him finding this shit, he pulled his consent. He stopped the search in the middle of it and
too many
said,
clues.
no more, and he just stopped cooperating from then on.
Right.
Again, not
I
great.
look guilty. I thought that was going to make me look not guilty, but wrong.
Yep, it looks real guilty. So they search his home and found nothing when they get a warrant for that. So they finally collect blood from him, and they're like, let's find out for sure here.
Yeah.
They get a DNA sample, compare it with the crime scene. Remember, there's sperm and everything else at the crime scene. There's semen there. DNA, and the cops are like, well, when this comes back positive, they got like Andrew stenciled in some cuffs that they're going to go arrest this motherfucker because they really want this guy. Whoever did this, they really want them bad for this. And everybody does. It's not just the cops, the parents, everybody. This is fucked up to kill someone like that. It's just wrong. Turns out, not a match.
Is that right?
Not a match. He's not. The cops were like, get the fuck out.
Fuck?
Let's do that. Run that again. Still not a match. Holy shit. They thought they had their guy dead to rights. Now the tire track's not matching, but they're like, he could have had another car. Who knows? It all fits too perfectly.
Yeah, but
His tow yard being right by where the body is, him showing up at the crime scene, him coming
it's gotta
forward
be
with
his everything. Yeah.
It's not his anything, they find out. They have no car to connect him to it, and it's not his DNA at the scene, period. So
now what do we do?
They're like, they don't know what to do. So they said that, here's from a newspaper article, media crews descended on Kobach Street to watch the search from curbside. The press stakeout continued outside Kobach's front door in the days that followed. He was the guy, period. Everyone was like, oh, they found the guy.
Yeah, we bet hard.
Yep. There was material. This is one of the cops here. I'm sorry. This is he has a lawyer. He's going to sue news organizations, he's saying now. Kobach is.
Yeah.
They said there was material that was false and misleading and disparaging, his lawyer said. Some news organizations did not handle this very responsibly. They also blamed over-aggressive police work, saying many of the things contained in the police affidavit were misleading and in some instances false in an effort to create probable cause. I don't know about that. He sounded pretty goddamn guilty, especially his MO of trying to get girls to pull over. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, no.
Makes sense they'd go after this guy. But anyway, after that, he is their one and only suspect.
And that's all we got.
And one and only clue. He's the only one who came forward and said, I saw something. No one else knows anything. The only other people are like, I saw her at the bar and then she left. That's it. So this is not good. At that point, the case is going cold. So they're searching for links to it at all. They look into 11 different incidents, 5 of which prove to be false in the end, in which women report being pulled over and harassed by a man impersonating a police officer.
Okay.
How is that almost a 50% fake rate on that?
That's crazy.
Why the fuck would you call the cops and say that's happening to you if that didn't happen to you?
Yeah.
What? I don't understand what you're getting out of that.
Maybe the other portion is the one that's calling while they're being pulled over, and they're like, "Yeah, we are trying to pull you over."
Yeah, that's us. Yeah, that's me.
Pull
See,
over,
look,
lady.
they wave out of the car window. See me? That's my hand. Pull the fuck over.
Yeah.
They just patched it right into my phone here. That's why. So that's what they do over the summer, trying to figure it out, and they don't figure anything out.
Okay.
And a year goes by, and nothing happens.
Oh.
Nothing. They have literally nothing. They're putting out.
That is not good.
No, there's rewards and there's,
We've got jizz. How are we not doing anything?
That's what I'm saying. This is the 90s, and we have fucking jizz, literally.
Right.
Jizz on the table, babe. Let's get this going.
This is all we need.
A full intact sperm.
This is literally the only thing we need to solve cases, and we got nothing?
Degenerate sperm. That's what we need. It's filthy, dirty, degenerate sperm, and we have it. So, June 1997 in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, in Montgomery County, police receive a call from a woman who lives in this area.
Yeah.
She said that a man was trying to break into her home and that she had started hearing the doorbell repeatedly ringing at 6:45 a.m.
Okay.
Which I guess if you're trying to get someone to come out, that's a good way to do it, because I'm coming out real upset if you're ringing my doorbell repeatedly
Swinging.
at 6:45. I'm coming out with a bat in my hand and my boxer shorts, angry.
I'll be holding something menacing. I assure you that. Whether it's my hard dick or a pistol. Watch
What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you here? I yelled at that old lady at 10 o'clock in the morning for fucking ringing my doorbell 400 times because she thought I was a chiropractor, and I'm not.
Yeah. 6:30. I'm either aroused or I have to piss. Either way, this thing's hard.
Yeah,
Watch
I'm
out.
coming. Is that what you want to get? Is that what you want to get chased down in my driveway by a guy with a rock hard dick and a baseball bat? A rock hard dick and a Kirby Puckett model? Is that what you're looking for? Because that's what I got right now.
You don't want this smoke.
You don't want none of it. You want nothing. I will wave my Otani at you in many ways.
I'll beat you to death with something, I promise.
Me and my Mike Trout are coming for you. Don't you worry about that. So she called 911 after seeing the man at the door was someone she didn't fucking know. No one on official business is ringing your doorbell at 6:45 in the morning. No.
And if it's...
Unless they have like a big truck, like a gas company thing or something.
Nobody's buying what you're door-to-door selling at 6:30, man. This is not normal business hours. Fuck out of here.
Either way, I'm swinging, though. So the cops come and arrest this guy.
Yeah.
And they ask him for his name, and he says it's Peter Thomas Love. That's what he says his name is. Love. P.T. Love. Nearby is a 1993 black Honda Civic, and the keys to that car are in this man's pocket. So his car. Okay. Now, when the license plate is run, they find out that he is not Peter Thomas Love.
No.
He is actually Arthur Jerome Bomar. Bomar.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Bomar here, we'll find out a little about him. Basically, the cops put him like this. They say he's extremely well-spoken, definitely intelligent, almost like he wanted to challenge us and match wits with us, which is an odd way to go about a police interaction.
Right.
They talked at length with him here. They said you could see how women would be drawn to him, she said. He's kind of a captivating guy here.
Sure.
So Arthur Jerome Bomar is born March 3rd, 1959. Okay? Now, the odd thing is that they found out that at 11:25 p.m. on June 20th, so about 6.5 hours after Amy's body was found, he was stopped by the police at the intersection of 20th Street and Erie Avenue in Philadelphia, 8 blocks from there where the body was found.
Right.
At the time, he was driving a green 1993 Ford Escort. Now, he didn't get arrested at that time, though. He just got stopped by the cops.
Yeah.
A little bit about Arthur here to give you a background of who they're talking to when they're not arresting him for shit. Okay. Right. He's born in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. He lived in Vegas, went to high school in Vegas, Las Vegas, dropped out of high school and became a janitor.
Wow.
Okay. Now, they had some problems with him. First of all, the attempted break-in that we'll talk about that they just stopped him for, that, he's ringing the doorbell at 6:45. That was after there's another woman right around that time named Patty Jordan, who's 19 years old. Yeah. She reported shortly before the attempted burglary, because they're connecting him together, him ringing the doorbell and this happening a couple days before, that a man in a black Honda had followed her home after she left a nightclub. And remember, the black Honda Civic was found nearby the doorbell ringing scene there. She said that the car followed her, then bumped into her several times into her back bumper with the driver motioning for her to pull over.
Right.
But she refused and just kept driving.
Yeah, because that's weird.
Because, it's the middle of the night, and I'm not going to be alone with some weird guy in the street here who's hitting me. Yeah. That's not the way you get people to pull over, hit their car repeatedly. I said pull over, bang. Oh, thanks. This guy obviously wants to help me.
We just had a car accident. Didn't you feel that? Look, we did another.
No? Well, how about this?
There's another.
So Patty said at the next light, my car must have made the light, or that car must have made the light, and I didn't. And that's where he hit my car. I just went and he motioned for me to pull over. And I was like, you hit my car. And he was like, just pull over, pull over. And it turned green and I just kept going. And my headlights shone on his license plate. And that's how I got his license plate.
Oh, whoops-a-daisy.
Which she reported to the police, her being AKB 1149. Now, when the license plate was run at that time, they found the car to be registered to Arthur.
Yeah.
Yes. So this meant that they were now wondering a couple of things here. They want to talk to him about Amy Willard, just because he was in the area that night and bumping into cars very shortly afterwards. Sure. The second reason is that when the license plate number was run for a second time and police discovered that the license plate number was not registered to a Honda, but rather to a 93 Ford Escort, a green one, as a matter of fact, that he had back at the time.
Other car. Yeah.
So he just took this plate and put it on another car. Took a plate off the Escort, put it on a Honda Civic.
Yeah.
The Honda he was driving belonged to a woman named Maria Cabuenos, who had been reported missing.
What?
March 18th, 1997, and was believed to have been abducted from Interstate 476, the exact same highway that Amy Willard's car was found on.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah, this is bad. This is making Andrew look very innocent all of a sudden, isn't it? Yeah. He looks so guilty for a minute there.
But now Arthur's in so much more trouble than Andrew ever could have been.
Arthur's used to it. We'll talk about Arthur here. Yeah, they look into his history. And when they look into his history, they're like, holy shit, how is this guy not in prison already? Yeah. How is this guy even out to do this shit? Okay. Little about his early life here. This is from his sister, who said, his sister Joyce, who will turn out to be a social worker later on. Yeah. You come from this background, you're a social worker or you're Arthur. It's really hard to have an in-between there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or you're a drug addict or something. There's one of the three. So Joyce is a social worker and Arthur's older sister. They have the same mother but different fathers. Now, the sister was raised by a grandmother and later an aunt. So the family's really doing great here. Yeah. She said she was in the 4th grade when she moved in with the Bomars, with her mom and her new stepdad, who is Arthur Bomar Sr., okay? Arthur Bomar. Yes, this was in Milwaukee at the time when Arthur was born. So she said, quote, it was hell, talking about the living conditions. Their house. She said during that time there was a lot of violence. She described her stepfather, Arthur Sr., Arthur's dad, as a man who drank and sexually abused her.
Oh, my God.
This is not a good house to grow up in at all. She recounted incidents in which one of the other sisters fought, the mom fought back. One of the other sisters fought back, even setting fire to her bedroom one time.
Firebug.
And to try to get attention, I guess, to get the authorities' attention, like that kid who was trapped in that room,
right? With the handy wipes or whatever.
Yep, with the hand sanitizer. Yeah. And another time, chopping the furniture up with an axe to get attention.
Okay.
She said, I can't remember any time that everyone wasn't fighting, talking about her mom and her stepdad. So obviously this is not a great environment for anyone to come up with. If there's sexual, physical abuse, the house is catching on fire on purpose, furniture's being chopped up, not a stable environment.
Yeah. Lashing out with flames and axes.
Wow. And they said that basically, this is a descriptor from another family member, said that Arthur was, quote, born to a mother who had her own major psychological difficulties and appeared to be psychotic, and was most likely exposed to alcohol at a young age, meaning Arthur was. If the mom's psychotic, what do you call the dad?
Right.
He's fucking sexually abusing children.
Sociopath.
What the fuck, man? They also said that he witnessed and was the subject of physical abuse and lived in environments that were chaotic and violent, was exposed to significant and multiple traumas due to repeated physical, sexual, emotional abuse and abandonment.
Jesus.
So what you're going to get is either Arthur or a social worker.
Yeah.
And there's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
either dark or it's fixing it. It's continuing.
Or it's fixing people.
Yeah, right. Or breaking the cycle, right.
Yeah, or you're going to have 4 alcoholic husbands otherwise before you find one that's not. You're going to have the cycle, as we all know. So 1978 in Las Vegas here. Okay, so Arthur is, a teenager at this point. In Las Vegas, there's a guy named Larry Carrier. Okay. Yeah. And Arthur at the time is married, has a wife named Tammy. Yeah. Okay. And he's hanging out with Tammy and their 2 friends who both have nicknames, not real names here. Blondie K is the woman.
Yeah.
And the guy they're hanging out with is known as, quote, Service Station Bob. That's a really long nickname. That's quite the handle. Service Station Bob.
Station Bob. We got a Bob.
Wow.
We need.
He's the guy who always shits up the gas station. They call him Service. He only eats food that comes from the microwave at the gas station.
Yeah. He eats that bomb burrito.
The big one. 1 pound, 89 cents. That's a problem there.
89 cents a burrito.
A giant burrito. I used to get in Arizona those 4 for $1 burritos at the grocery store.
Yeah.
The Tinas, we were talking about those. We got to do those on Your Stupid Opinions because they were so bad.
All the reviews got to be. They've all got to be. I have indigestion. I ate this 2 months ago.
Well, the nice part about them is you first bite, you burn the shit out of your mouth, but by the third bite, there was ice in there to actually cool it down. So it was helpful. I remember eating all the way up to the middle of it and then throwing that out because it was still frozen. But the sides were overdone. So
if you put a slice of cheese on it and leave it in the microwave, the cheese helps bake the center. Because it's boiling lava on top.
I guess so. Can't hurt. Yeah. I never thought to mix a cheese that's worth more than the burrito in with the burrito. A slice of cheese is worth more than that whole burrito, man.
It's like 35 cents.
A decent slice of cheese.
Yeah.
So this was outside Arthur's apartment on July 25th, 1978. They're all hanging out, and a man named Larry Carrier, who showed up, began arguing with the group about a parking space in the apartment complex. That doesn't seem like much of a beef. It's a parking space. You could figure it out, right? Yeah. No.
They're supposed to be assigned, but okay.
Arthur went in his house, got a .22 caliber rifle, shot and killed Larry Carrier.
Whoa.
Shot and killed him.
Apartment complex parking space.
Parking space. Yeah.
Jesus.
This is crazy. This isn't like New York City where you paid for this parking space and you pay $1,200 a month and someone parked there and you lose your mind because there's nowhere else to park. Just park 10 feet over. What the hell are we talking about?
There. Yeah.
Nope. Shot and killed this man. Dead. Okay. He's charged with second-degree murder.
Yeah.
But set free on $20,000 bail.
We can.
Yeah.
Who in the justice system thinks that's okay?
For an 18-year-old he's not like in school, he's a high school dropout and a janitor. You could disappear into Mexico and no problem, no time at all. He could be in fucking Tijuana. Right. So he's out of jail, and in January of 1979, 6 months later, barely.
Yeah.
Here is a headline from the newspaper there. Police hold janitor in spark shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah. A 19-year-old Reno janitor, because he took off from Vegas.
Yep.
On bail on a Vegas murder charge, was arrested Sunday night in Sparks in connection with the shotgun wounding of a Reno woman.
Oh, my God. Now he's got a shotgun.
He's escalating from men to women and from 22s to shotguns. That's not great. He was booked into the Sparks jail on charges of attempted murder, battery with a deadly weapon, assault with a deadly weapon, and burglary. You know what his bail is for that? Now consider he's already out on bail for murder. $27,500.
We're gonna up at $7,000
for another 2 shootings in. Now, the victim, Sherry Nauman, an 18-year-old grocery store clerk, was admitted to the hospital with a large hole above one knee. He kneecapped her with a shotgun.
Wow.
This broad's never going to walk the same again.
No.
From 18 on.
Yep.
So police said she and Arthur know each other, but police didn't immediately determine a motive for the shooting, which occurred at 6:51 p.m. Saturday, and said the victim and her mother, Joanne Nauman, were sitting on a couch in the mother's residence at 90 East Lenwood Drive when a man entered and fired a shotgun twice at them. He busted into the house and started blasting shots off. The first shot hit a vanity next to Mrs. Nauman, and the second hit her daughter in the leg, and then the gunman fled. Okay, a little more on that. The next day in the newspaper, father of wounded girl reports more shots.
Coming back.
Yeah, father of a Sparks woman wounded by a shotgun blast reported to police that someone also tried to shoot him on Tuesday.
Going after the family, too.
Wow, this is crazy. Yeah, Mel, we don't know why. This is like to run into someone's house. They didn't even wait for him to come outside.
Yeah.
Melvin C. Nauman, a supervisor for L&L Roofing of Reno, told Reno police someone fired a shotgun at him as he was helping to load a truck at the company at 4:25 p.m. He said he was not wounded, but pellets hit the truck. He said that after hearing the shot, he saw a car leaving the area of the company here, and Reno police plan to confer with Sparks police to determine if there's a connection with the shooting. You think they're both shotguns, it's the same family.
Yeah.
What kind of coincidence would that have to be?
Everybody's just
oh my God.
For it. Yeah.
That is crazy. The thing is, they think it's one of Arthur's friends. They said Sherry and a man arrested in connection with her shooting Saturday are friends. She and Arthur were pals.
Yeah.
So we don't know what happened between them. And Arthur was in custody at the time of the second shooting.
So
they'd already arrested him.
Yeah.
It wasn't him, but it's got to be, part of this. So she had a 3.5-inch hole in her leg. That is fucking crazy. The police, they charge it.
That's a slug then.
It's 3.5-inch hole.
That's
it's not a pellet.
That's a slug.
But then pellets were loaded because pellets were found in the truck.
Probably staggered.
Maybe, birdshot, buckshot.
Slug, yeah.
There you go. Never know. So that is, I don't even know what to say about that. That's crazy. So 1979, he goes to trial for second-degree murder. Yeah. And he's convicted, because he did it in broad daylight in front of fucking 5 people. Yeah. And that's the parking space murder here. Now, the attempted murder charge in the other case was dismissed in exchange for a guilty plea of battery with a deadly weapon in that case. He is convicted. He is sentenced to, you, sir, may fuck off, life in prison with parole.
With parole.
With parole. And they add an extra 10 years to it for the deadly weapon, assault with a deadly weapon charge.
Yeah.
So, life with parole. You think that's going to keep him away for a while. Now, that's in 1979, and by 1996, he's doing the things he's doing as we know him. So, January 1986, 86 now, 10 years before Amy was killed, he's in prison in Nevada. He is forced to plead guilty because while he's in prison, he beat the shit out of his girlfriend in the prison visiting room.
She came to say hello.
The visiting room.
A hell of a hello.
He heard she was seeing someone or whatever the fuck it was. Who knows? This fucking idiot said, I'll get away with this in the prison visiting room. You're already in prison, you fucking dummy. So, he faces sentencing on the assault charge because he takes a guilty plea on that in 86. He is charged with battery, and an extra 18 months were tacked onto his sentence.
God dang.
Okay, 1990. He's released on parole.
Wow.
Yeah, he did 11 years.
That's a bad guy.
A murder, an attempted murder, obviously has no respect for anything. If you'll beat your girlfriend, you'd think that would delay his parole at least, because even that happened in prison. But no. That is crazy to only do 11 years for a murder charge. It's not like he went in there and like got a college degree and started teaching the other inmates to speak fucking Swahili or something. Like, he does nothing positive. He's just been an asshole, and they're going to let him out anyway. It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. So anyway, while on parole, he says, I don't like Nevada. I'd like to get out of here and go somewhere else.
They know what I do here.
They know, and Nevada is like, well, yeah, sure, love to get him out of our fucking care. That'd be terrific. So
and
he
Sparks.
said,
it's a small place. They know what he does. Yeah,
they know. Everybody knows what he does. So he decides he wants to move. Guess which state he wants to move to?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, and he's granted permission. By the authorities in both Nevada and Pennsylvania, and he would then become a part of Pennsylvania's parole system now. So by that time, the reason he wants to move is because his mother had moved from Nevada to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And he also had family and friends in the Philadelphia area. So Nevada officials gave him permission to move and assign him a new parole officer out there. So he ends up moving. He ends up moving to Warrington in Bucks County. And which is the home of his father, or his mother and his stepfather, because now his mother and father are divorced. You know, which makes sense. I hope his father's in prison because he's beating and molesting children.
I hope she left him. Fuck.
Yeah. So they said that Pennsylvania had no choice but to accept him. That's what the spokesperson for the board, state parole board said.
Because he's got family there.
Mr. Bomar's case fell under what is considered mandatory acceptance via the interstate compact, in that he had established a residence and had an offer of employment.
Okay. He
had a place to live, and they found him a job. So, you can't say, no, you have to stay here and have no place to live, essentially. I think those rules are different now, though.
I hope so.
His parole officer recounted him this way, Nevada parole officer. This is a guy who really hates women and despises them and wants to punish them and wants to feel virile and feels that he deserves this. This is his way of getting back.
Right.
Yeah, he hates his fucking mother is what it is here, obviously. And he acts like he also idealizes her and everything else. But in the end,
does not like her at all.
He doesn't like her.
For his feelings and for what happened to him.
Yeah, for sure. If a woman's crazy, you go, where's dad? If a guy's crazy, you go, where's mom? It's just the way it is. I mean, there's exceptions, but that's the general rule here. So November of 1990, he's in Pennsylvania. I would think low profile if I'm this guy. I just got out of prison for murder in 11 years. They're going to be looking at me for everything, I would think.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now there's a woman named Teresa Thompson. Her car ends up getting stuck in the mud outside the American Legion Hall in Warrington. And she can't get it out of the mud. She's stuck. So just then, a big man with a deep voice stopped and offered her help. He said, I'm Arthur Bomar. I'd love to help you.
I'm your hero.
She's thrilled, this woman. She's like, oh, thank fuck. She's stuck in the mud. Someone wants to help you out of the mud. You take it. Yeah. So she was like, this is amazing. All this, she said she was so taken with his kindness and just happy-go-lucky demeanor that she eagerly accepted his offer to come home with him.
Oh.
Well, I guess that's better than buying her a drink. You pulled her out of the mud. That's harder. Anybody can plunk $5 down in a bar.
I never thought to offer that. Can I?
Who would think?
Can I change your flat tire and come sit on my face?
Wow. Well, no, it's his family's home.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the thing.
All right.
So after meeting his mom, stepfather, and brother, she gave her his phone number, and so give me a call sometime. Okay. You seem like she knows he's a decent guy. He knows how to do stuff, and he's got what she thinks is a nice family sitting there. So what the hell?
It's a good way to court, sure.
Yeah, before your first date, you don't know all this shit about people. Right. It'd be great to know, what's your family environment like? Oh, decent? Okay. Like, it's all shit you find out later.
Got me out of the mud, kept me safe, and then showed me his family. That's as safe as it gets.
That's what I mean. Here's my mom. What's not safe about that? So in the weeks that followed here, she came to know Arthur a little bit. She also said he wasn't the same at all anymore after the first time they met. No. She described him as a cunning, obsessive abuser who flies into uncontrolled rages when he doesn't get what he wants.
Less of a knight in shining armor than before.
Yeah, that sounds more like Arthur, I think, right there. Yeah, no, he's a knight in a shining shit suit at this point. He's
a shite in knighting armor.
Yeah. So he November 5th, 1990, he's going to be arrested for an assault following an incident outside that very same American Legion Hall. Okay. I don't know why everyone's hanging out at the American Legion so much, but...
Yeah, why is he hunting there?
Well, Teresa Thompson told police that Arthur was harassing her in the hall. She knew him, she said, in a court appearance, and described him as being usually a very nice guy, very quiet, very calm. She said he was just good to talk to. But she said that she rebuffed him this particular night.
Yeah.
She didn't want to be with him, as a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she headed out to a friend's car, and she said that Arthur fucking followed her out there, dragged her out of the seat, picked her up and threw her onto the roof of another car, grabbed her by the hair and punched her in the forehead.
That's not terrifying or anything.
Holy shit. That is insane.
That's insane.
That's an action movie fight. Yeah. Dragging someone out of the car, throwing them on top, and then punching their face.
It's like something that happens in Deadpool, for Christ's sake.
Fucking unbelievable. Yeah, it's if that was two guys, it would almost be comical. It would be like a Righteous Gemstones fight, but instead it's terrifying because it's some poor woman trying to run away from her.
Clearly an overwhelmed, you got to start rooting hard on that underdog.
Yeah, this is, So now this was the problem of why he's so mad is she told him that she was staying home that night, but he caught her at the American Legion Hall. They're not together.
Thought you were
he just asked.
Home.
Yeah, she didn't want to go out with him that night.
Right.
And she was with her boss, who was a guy.
Okay.
So they said that Thompson said they'd never really been out on anything she would consider a date, but they'd talked on the phone for long periods of time. And Teresa's younger sister said he played that man role. Don't worry about your problems. I'll take care of them type of thing. But quickly, his interest turned to obsession. The phone calls became more often, sometimes 8 or 9 times a day.
Whoa.
That is too often to call someone you're not with.
Yeah.
That's even too often to call someone you are with unless they're really interested in talking to you about stuff.
That's too much to call someone you've only slept with once, let alone
never.
At all.
Not at all. That's a way to never get to sleep with them right there. So the sister said he was getting too persistent, too controlling. He'd say, I want to meet you here or there. Or he'd then ask her, who are you seeing tonight? Where are you going? I know it's another man. He'd try to get information out of her that wasn't there. So Teresa told her sisters to tell Arthur that she wasn't home when he called, but he became more demanding. And then sometimes she would pick up the phone and it would be him. So you're stuck then. Yeah. Of those times one of the times was November 3rd, 1990. Arthur asked her if she was going out after work. She told him she wasn't. Later, she said she just decided to stop after work at the American Legion with her boss, Kevin Sadler. And that's when Arthur showed up and said, how dare you show up with another man, yelling at him. Huh? Teresa said, leave me alone. Yeah. She said, he kept approaching me during the night saying, don't you know how much I love you?
Who cares?
I love you so much. It gives me the power to lift you from the ground, toss you onto the roof of a car and punch you in the forehead. That's how much I love you. Wow. When she and her girlfriend left, he followed, and that's what happened. He yanked her out by the hair from the car, threw her against the car, wrapped his hands around her neck. She said, help me, as he choke slammed her onto the roof of the car and started punching her. Luckily, at that point, 2 men in the parking lot got a golf club from their car and walked toward Arthur. At that point, he let Teresa go, and Teresa and the boss, this guy's a total pussy, ran away.
Right.
Be like, you run away. I'm going to stay and help these two guys kick this guy's ass right now. You know what I mean? You go over there, though.
Yeah.
But instead, they came up to him. He attacked the two guys.
Really?
Took the golf club away from them and smashed their car windshield with it.
You approached a dude and you got it taken from you? Two guys.
Two guys and a golf club can't beat one guy. That's pathetic.
If I got a putter, somebody's in danger.
Deep fucking danger.
I'll open your fucking head.
You give me a 6-iron, it is over. I will guillotine you with that fucking thing.
I can't believe those are two dudes that were just trying to be white knights that didn't have any intention
hey, buddy,
of doing
get out of here with a golf club. And this is an aggressive criminal.
We were kidding.
This is an aggressive criminal who said, fuck you, give me that fucking golf club, and then started smashing the... And they were just like, oh, man, now our windshield's fucked up, too.
Those are guys that didn't realize this man has shotgunned people.
No, every guy here is a pussy, though.
Indeed.
3 pussies is what I'm getting out of this. Teresa's the only one who's exchanged any fucking skin with this guy. All the rest of them like, oh, God, please don't hurt me.
I'm taking legs first, and then as he's on the ground nursing that knee, I'm taking his face off.
These are like the guy's friends in Goodfellas when Henry Hill beats him with the fucking
with the gun.
Beats him with a gun in front of the Corvette in his driveway. That's what he's like. Please don't
want any problems.
Don't shoot. The one guy says, which is hilarious. So anyway, this arrest could have sent him back to Nevada as a parole violation. And in fact, the Nevada officials indicated they wanted him back, but then didn't follow up on it or pursue it. He's only been there like 3 months in Pennsylvania. Now that's what happened. But the one of the people on the Nevada Parole and Probation Board denied that and said we had placed a detainer on him. We were in the process to return him when the charges were dropped. He was given instructions to report back to Nevada, but Pennsylvania said they would resume supervision of him.
Sure.
We got him. It's fine. So the Willow Grove, the American Legion case with Teresa was dismissed. Wow. Do you know why it was dismissed?
Not enough evidence? I don't know.
No. They didn't have Teresa's testimony because she died of a drug overdose.
No!
Yep. Died of a drug overdose, according to the newspaper.
Damn it.
And that is why she was unable to testify and give evidence against him. So there you go. Arthur skates on another one.
Wow.
Imagine doing what he did that night and getting in no trouble for it. Imagine that. You beat a woman senseless, fucking bashing some people's windshield who just tried to help a battered woman out with a golf club, and then you're no consequences for that. Wouldn't you just think, I can get away with anything? I only did 11 years for a murder and a shotgunning, for Christ's sake.
Who's going to stop me?
Wow. So the next couple years, he actually stays out of trouble. Gets in no trouble and continues to fulfill his parole obligations in Pennsylvania, which included monthly phone calls or field visits and face-to-face contacts as well. 1993, though, he starts to unravel a little bit here. He's not going to keep it together forever. Let's be realistic. There was a fight in 1993 outside of the Horsham Inn. I guess it's a bar, where he's arrested on simple assault and disorderly conduct charges. He pleads guilty and receives probation. How do you get probation when you're already on parole? I don't understand how that works. How does that work? Without having your parole revoked or anything. But that, too, could have revoked his Nevada parole, but the Nevada people said Pennsylvania parole officers recommended that Arthur remain under their supervision still. They asked why, and they said, quote, there was a stable residence and stable employment, and he received a 1-year probation. They figured no reason to rock the boat, send him back to the other state. In addition, she said Pennsylvania officials figured that since Nevada didn't bring him back in 91, they weren't going to bring him back for a lesser offense now. So once again, they didn't. The Nevada officials have a different response for it, though. This is the one person from the board said, I can only respond to things we have documented, and that shows that Pennsylvania said they would keep us posted. In 1995, they said they'll continue supervision and that his progress was satisfactory. Okay. So they're passing the buck back and forth, these two states.
Yeah, trying to force the other one to...
Yeah. They're 2,000 miles away, so they can just keep blaming each other. Nobody will take the blame. No, it's your fault. No, we wanted him, but no, they wanted him. So 1993, Arthur, obviously this guy is irresistible to the ladies.
Yeah.
He gets married, obviously. How could you not want to marry this man?
What the shit? Somebody felt forced?
Wow. He was working. He's real charming when he wants to be. That's what they all say. He was working as an orderly in Doylestown at the hospital, Doylestown Hospital in Bucks County, when he met Joyce, who was a coworker at the hospital.
Yeah.
Now, the two were married in 1993, and Joyce said it was troubled right from the start.
Yeah.
Arthur beat her, and to the point where at one point she got a protection order, and she later withdrew it when he came back and tried to charm her. She has since filed for a divorce, and that was in the works as well. Okay. So she's only married to her for like 3 years into that 96 period, as we'll talk about. He repeatedly threatened and hit her, is what the court document said too. There, because that's what he does. That's what he saw, and that's what he knows, and he's done nothing to change it. Right. Yeah. Now, there's other ladies here. Not only is he married to Joyce, he's also engaged to a woman named Mary Rumer at the same time. Yeah. Rumer of Olney. So not only is he married and engaged, right. He's also dating a woman. He's in various states of a relationship here. Boy. You know what it is? He likes different states of a relationship. He likes to keep one in each state so he can really bask in the glory of it. He was dating a woman that he met at a Wawa in Warrington.
Sure.
Hey, you meet those Wawa chicks. That's a keeper right there. Listen, she knows how to order a sandwich from the kiosk, and you gotta do it. Now, none of the women knew about each other, by the way. He wasn't like
that old
he was
joke.
keeping this all a secret, by the way.
Find a girl that makes a sandwich, that mows the lawn, does the dishes, and fucks you right, and make sure that none of those four meet each other.
That's the one. Yeah, that's a joke from the 40s, and it's absolutely
awful
legit.
Joke ever.
It's like a Henny Youngman joke, but
he's living it.
He's living it. He heard it and he lived it.
Yeah, because I know it. I know how it goes.
During this time, he also stalked dozens of women, stealing clothes and ID cards from their vehicles. Basically, later on, they will find items belonging to as many as 40 women in a storage locker.
God dang.
40. And usually when he would do that, meant he was going... That was like a placekeeper. I'll keep this one for later when I go after that person. Creepy. He worked several jobs during this period. One was the orderly at Doylestown Hospital where he met his wife, who was a nursing assistant. He also worked for a tree surgeon. So you can add thief to that list, too, of shit. Yeah. He's also a fucking thief that charges insane amounts of money for cutting a goddamn fucking tree limb down. The hospital fired Arthur in 1994, and he turned to odd jobs. And he and Joyce moved into a trailer near Huntingdon, which is about a 4-hour trip into central Pennsylvania at that point, sometime. He is charged with a simple assault on October 17th, 1995. Don't know what happened. It just says it was on North Front Street. This happened. He's charged with simple assault. So that's a goddamn another charge that he should have been taken off the street for. So anyway, they're living in Lansdale in Montgomery County in 1996. That's Arthur and Joyce. They settled into a weird little arrangement. Now, she had filed for divorce already and all that, but basically Arthur would spend Monday through Friday morning with her, and then he would go to the bars and clubs on the weekend and not come home. Oh. And that was the arrangement they had. Like, I'll be here during the week, but then I got to be gone on the weekends.
I got bars to hit.
Yeah.
So I'll stay at hotels? How's that?
He's like a 12-year-old whose mom has, regular custody. He's like, on the weekends, I go spend it with Dad. That's just the way it is.
I'll be at the arcade.
Wow. So later in the summer, she moved to Huntington and didn't know that Mary Rumer was his fiance, and Rumer didn't know anything about Joyce, and that's how it was going. Joyce filed for divorce. She told investigators that her husband could go from being a, quote, raving lunatic to Mr. Nice Guy in 30 minutes. Uh-huh. That's why she kept coming back. Mary Rumer, the other fiance, also said he had a split personality. Quote, 1 minute he's violent and abusive, the next he's charming.
Right.
In other words, a dangerous, scary, and we know he's capable of violence. So it's not even like he just likes to manipulate. Yeah. We know he's capable of extreme fucking violence. Yeah. So very, little provoked also.
Right. And the quintessential cyclical domestic violence scumbag.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's even his history fits into it. He's the guy. November 1996, November 23rd to be exact. Police arrest him after he and Mary Rumer, his fiance, rent a motel room in Montgomeryville and pay with a stolen credit card. So a stolen credit card should certainly get your parole revoked, right?
Should, yeah.
No, he's released on bail. Mm-hmm. They let him out of jail on bail. Okay, even though he's on parole and probation at the same time. Two different forms of keeping an eye on this asshole.
Identity theft, which is like one of the worst forms of scumbaggery
and fraud.
Yeah.
Credit card fraud, all sorts of charges. It's bad stuff. Mary was eventually cleared of the charges because I'm sure it wasn't her fucking idea.
It probably wasn't the card she stole.
No, that's the thing. Next up, he has a problem at a Pep Boys establishment.
Really?
Yeah.
Discount auto parts.
Lots of fights happening at the old Pep Boys. Let me tell you something.
It is frustrating to have to be there. I get it.
It is. It is. You asked for this model windshield wiper. You got the other one. You got it all the way home. It didn't fit. You got to take it back now. Pain in the balls. So, because that's really what you go there for.
Yep.
So this is the Pep Boys Auto Parts store in Willow Grove. He apparently went nuts on a clerk who didn't wait on him fast enough.
Okay.
It's a Pep Boys. No one in there is moving at a pace. As I know Pep is in the name, but there's no pep going on there. They're all half fucking dead.
Manny, Mo, and Jack don't work here. It's their friends or their shitbag employees.
They work in the other store in the other town.
They're up in
one.
corporate.
Yeah, you got to find them. So this is from one of the workers here, not the one he attacked.
Yeah.
One standing next to him. He told her he had attacked a female clerk.
A female
at Pep Boys,
auto
by the
parts
way.
employee.
Yeah.
Who, okay. Yeah.
He told her he was going to, quote, jump across the counter and slap her upside the head.
Upside the head. Remember that one?
Get you upside the head.
Yeah.
And then another person came over to try to calm him down, who happened to be an off-duty cop, and he threatened his life as well.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah. So he's convicted of disorderly conduct and fined $172.
Really?
Pull him off the fucking... He can't be out.
He can't be on the street.
That's it. December 23rd, 1996. Arrested again.
Yeah.
Again. Think of how many opportunities to pull a rug out from this asshole there are. This is arrested for stealing a cell phone from a car at the Montgomery Mall.
Those don't work when you take them away, right?
Dude, no. I mean, 96. 96, you could probably have sold it.
That's it.
They were like expensive in 96. Yeah. A witness told police he heard glass breaking. So this isn't just an open window when he saw it in there and he grabbed it. He broke a window for it and saw a man reach into the station wagon, take out 2 bags, and drive away in another car. The witness wrote down the plate number. Police stopped the car. There he is with all the stuff. Yeah. They let him out on bail again.
Is it overcrowding? Is it not wanting to?
He must just be a real charmer when he gets in the office, because
I guess in the 90s we didn't really consider how dangerous people really were.
I think we did. I think it was over paranoid in the 90s.
I don't know.
They were too busy breaking teenagers' balls in the 90s for fucking around.
Yeah.
That's really what it was. We were not public enemy number one, but this guy, you can let him go.
Yeah. Of shit.
Oh, if you're 17 and you do something, lock him up for years. But this guy, it's fine. Ridiculous.
An asshole smoking
There's a
weed.
kid with weed. My God. Put him away.
Kid's got a skateboard, man. You know he's up to no good.
And weed? Get the cuffs out.
Yeah.
So Nevada officials were told in January of these 2 arrests, and they issued a detainer warrant. Gee, it was about time. That meant any police who picked Bomar up should hold him to face a Nevada parole board violation. They actually file that. That month, also, Arthur stopped contacting his Pennsylvania parole officer, and his name was entered into the NCIC computer as having absconded from parole.
Wow.
Not good. So February 26, 1997, a warrant is issued for his arrest after he fails to meet with his parole supervisor. Yeah. Okay. The problem is, though, when you're arrested when your warrant's issued for not checking in with your supervisor, it's known as a technical violation, meaning it's not in and of itself criminal.
Yeah.
But it's just a violation of parole conditions. Yeah. It's a little hack on the wrist. It's not a flagrant. You know what I mean?
It's a free throw and the ball back. That's all. It's not a big
That's
deal.
it. So the parole board then has the option of letting it go, sending the offender back to jail for a brief time as punishment for the violation, or forcing him to serve the remainder of his sentence, which is life in prison.
Right.
So anyway, back into the Amy. This brings us back into Amy's investigation. And the Maria woman as well, whose car was taken when she was missing, and that's whose car he had. That's also interesting here. So they have to prove his involvement. How do you prove his involvement?
Yeah.
Well, this is from a police affidavit here. Quote, Joyce Bomar, Arthur Bomar's wife, related that Bomar left her presence early in the morning of June 19th, 1996. She further related that she knew Bomar to be familiar with the Blue Route, that's the road there that that the car was found on, and that he told her that he not only drove on the Blue Route, but that had on occasion slept on the side of the road on that highway. Additionally, Mrs. Bomar told investigators that after the morning hours of June 19th, 1996, the first time she spoke with Arthur was in the evening hours of June 20th or the 21st, after the murder. When she spoke with Arthur on that occasion, he told her he had injured his hands and needed bandages.
Right.
Which you would need probably after all that fighting and cutting and everything else. Here's another woman he dated. Quote, police interviewed a young woman who was dating Arthur Bomar at the time of the murder, Amy's murder. She further stated that Mr. Bomar told her that night that he was going to Smokey Joe's to meet some friends. Okay. So now that she just placed him going to Smokey Joe's.
Yep.
So then his fiance, Mary Rumor here.
Right.
I just love that a married man has a fiance. That's just hilarious to me. So fucking funny. So July 10th, 97, 2 Pennsylvania police troopers meet with his girlfriend, Mary, and Mary tells the troopers, Mary Rumor, that he had confessed to her that he murdered Amy Willard.
Oh.
Yeah. She told police that Arthur related the following events to her, that Arthur observed Amy leaving the bar, getting into her car, and starting to drive away. He followed in his own car. Then he stopped her car on Interstate 476 and flashed a fake police badge.
Oh, my God.
That's what got her out of the car. When Amy asked why she was being stopped, that's when Arthur told her that she was swerving on the road. Amy became angry. This is bullshit, she said. Yeah. I wasn't swerving, so that's pretty funny. She knows I'm not drunk. I know what I drank.
Yeah.
And Amy has balls, so she became angry, at which point Arthur punched her and knocked her unconscious. That's what started this. After placing Amy in the car, Arthur told Mary that he drove to an abandoned building, took the victim's clothes, placed them in a trash bag, and threw them away. Uh-huh. He then hit her in this place is in Chester, by the way. That's why Chester's the town. That he hit her in the head with a hard object and killed her, and also even admitted raping her to Mary. What? You tell your fiance that you're a rapist murderer. You're a serial killer, essentially, is what you tell her. I got an MO, is what you tell her, and here it is.
What did she say?
She said, okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's nothing. Yeah. She also told troopers that he had shown her the location on I-476 where Amy Willard's car was abandoned, as well as the vacant lot where her body was recovered.
Oh, my God.
He took her on a murder
Showed
tour.
Her the location.
Little murder tour. That's all.
Yeah.
Took her in a little bus. They had bag lunches.
Oh, boy.
Also, the night that Amy's body was found, he was stopped a few blocks from the lot to question him about an unrelated rape. Unrelated, and then let him go. Think about how many pieces of identification and little trinkets he's got of these women.
Trophies.
How much is he doing, man? Mm-hmm. So they need to figure out what's going on, and they need DNA out of this guy. That's what this is going to be here. So they found that his 93 Ford Escort that he was driving at the time Amy disappeared had been involved in an accident. That's why he wasn't driving it anymore. He abandoned it, and it was he was driving this Honda that he apparently stole from the Cabuenos woman. Yeah. Okay, they tracked the Escort down to a towing company that was around the night of the accident, and they said they still had the car. He never picked it up. Years later, 4 fucking years later.
That's how useless.
Or not 4 years,
are.
like 2 years later, a Ford Escort. Yeah, they set it on fire. It's a fucking old Ford Escort. It's been an accident. Yeah. The first thing that came to the attention of the investigators when they went to look at this car was the tires. Firestone 440, 13 inches.
13s.
Yeah. And the only car that could have that is a 63 Pontiac Tempest. Sorry. So the police seized and removed the following articles from the car: the front left tire of the vehicle, a Firestone FR 440 P17570R13, the oil pan from the undercarriage of the vehicle. Do you know why?
Why?
It matches up with her burn perfectly.
He ran her over?
Yep, he fucking ran her over. That's where those other injuries came from.
And then sat on her for a minute while it burned her?
Yep. That contained, by the way, also the right front door panel, which contained several brownish spots, later testing positive for blood.
Yeah.
Tire taken was consistent with the tread design, size, wear pattern, and tire impressions taken from the area where the car was found.
And it's just sitting there in an impound lot.
Yep. It just the key to it all was sitting in a lot.
Oh, my God.
Covered in dust and dirt with no one looking twice at it for a year, over a year. God. The repeating cross rectangle-shaped features, the vertical lines, and the machined edge present on the oil pan taken from this car matched the pattern of injury perfectly to the right side of Amy's body as well. Horrifying. Then the DNA comes in. They execute a search warrant for samples of his blood. DNA testing of the blood samples established that it is a perfect match. Matched the DNA profile of the male fraction developed from vaginal swabs taken from Amy. There was a 1 in 500 million chance that it's somebody else. So 1 in 500 million is the odds on this one.
Slam dunk.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good, I would say. Like almost 2 Americas, probably pretty good. So pretty.
There's only 2 people. Yeah.
There'd be a person. Less than 2. It'd be 1 500 million. So half a person in America basically has that blood, and it's this asshole.
Yeah.
So they said also the DNA testing of the blood stains on the door panel indicated that Amy was a contributor to those stains as well. Yeah. So she was in the car. He was with her. They also found blood behind the door panel. So she was on it and behind it, and that also is a perfect match to Amy's blood as well. So
how the fuck do you get it back there?
I would assume the window, and then it rolls down the window and gets behind it that way, I would imagine. Yeah. That's probably the way you do it.
The felt is bad.
Yep, the felt's bad, or there's enough blood where the felt is soaked and it keeps going. Yeah. Gross. So anyway, they say that because of the degree of grease and dirt deposit on Ms. Willard's body, as well as ashy substances found there, and the unusual pattern marks on her body displayed, an examination of the undercarriage of the Escort was performed, and that's when they noted that the oil pan lines up perfectly as well. And he's familiar with the neighborhood because he has an aunt and a friend in the 16th Street and Indiana Avenue area, and was a frequent patron of the nearby bar called the Scorpion.
Oh.
Yeah, so he hangs out in that neighborhood. So he knows that neighborhood. He would know where a vacant lot would be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they lay out the theory that they think that he followed her, just like he said. He followed her, crashed into her car, got out, struck her with a tire iron, which left some of the blood on the guardrail of the highway, then dragged her to his car, put her in the front seat, and that's about that. And all that anyone can say for sure is that he dumped the body sometime before 4 p.m. On June 20th, because that's when kids were present there. So, and they didn't see anybody dumping a fucking body.
Yeah.
So that's wild, man. That's crazy. So the arrest, or the figuring this out, was, for kind of a mixed blessing for Amy's family. They're like, yeah, that's great and everything, but she's still dead.
Yeah.
And these people, by the way, I really like these people, the Willards. Like, especially, you hear more from Mom, and Mom is a really interesting lady who seems to really has a good head on her shoulders, basically. Yeah. She said that she hasn't had, they talked to her, she said she has not had time to form an opinion about whether this guy's guilty or not.
Yeah.
She said, all I keep thinking is, Amy, you must have been so scared and I wasn't there to protect you. That's horrifying for a parent to feel like. And that's her ex-husband, though. Paul says he has no doubts about this whatsoever. He said, I had a gut feeling all along. He said, well, that's it. I guess if that was this guy, I don't know. So the official arrest is June 5th, 1997, because you remember they were looking for him this whole time.
Yeah, right.
They find him here. He's arrested on an outstanding warrant for violating his parole on everything else. Now, he made various false statements to law enforcement during the course of this, including a false alibi. He told investigators he was at a birthday gathering for his stepson on the night of June 19th, 1996, along with his wife, Joyce.
Yeah.
So, and his stepdaughter and several others. Tons of people there. However, they actually, his stepdaughter and his wife and everybody else he claims to be with all say that that's not true, and he wasn't there for that. They said that on June 19th, while at the birthday party, Joyce said there was no gathering on his birthday is June 19th, but they didn't have a party for him that night. So that's not true. They said that they both denied being present with him at any birthday gathering on June 19th, the stepdaughter and the ex-wife. Now, his response is, when they talk to him, he's the DNA out the ass.
Yeah.
His response to the press is, quote, I'm being framed because I'm black. I need a good lawyer. Uh-huh. That's what he said. Then he starts going crazy in jail. Okay.
But he's shot people before.
Oh, he's murdered someone, tried to. He's done all sorts of horrible shit.
Yeah.
I mean, just that thing with Teresa in the parking lot was crazy enough to never want to be near a person like that. Never mind all the rest of the shit.
He's been framed.
Yeah, he's been framed. That was only because he didn't have a gun. He was doing that shit. Otherwise, he would have shot these people. So he ends up being in jail, and that's for the burglary and all that shit that he got. They picked him up on when he knocked on or rang that lady's doorbell. So he was cited in jail for disobeying an order on his first day in jail, which is hard to do. He, in a few short months, he racked up 8 misconduct citations, causing him to tack an extra 330 days onto his burglary sentence, which we're going to get in a second here. Some of the citations were for threatening prison staffers.
Oh.
He would also yell and scream and bang his head against the wall. From the court documents, it says counsel was aware of the behaviors documented in the records of Bomar's pretrial detention, having heard from prison staff that Bomar was, quote, disruptive, banging his head against the wall and ranting and raving, and having received a copy of Bomar's prison records in response to a subpoena. When he confronted Bomar about his conduct, however, Arthur told his counsel he was just playing with the guards for entertainment. It was just fun to get That's the type of person who is a problem.
Yeah.
It's fun to get misconduct citations while in prison. That's a problem person.
Willing to lengthen my sentence for fun. Just for fun. Yeah.
Just for playing.
Yeah.
So July 10th, 1997 is when Mary came forward and said that he confessed to her and told her all about it. Then it gets worse for Arthur. Yeah. That's because his ex-brother-in-law, David O'Donnell, Joyce's brother, he was incarcerated in federal prison for unrelated offenses. He had like 12 bank robberies or something that he did. Yeah, shitload of bank robberies. Wow. He met with law enforcement officials to offer his assistance in the investigation. He said, I know Arthur. I'll get any information I can out of him. So they said, sure, and they transferred him to the Montgomery County Correctional Facility where Arthur was being held. Right. So he was placed in the same cell block with him for approximately 2 weeks in July of 97. On July 17th, 97, while Arthur was in his brother-in-law's cell here, Arthur told him, quote, if I had disposed of the body, there would be no problem. Then said, no body, no grand jury indictment, which is
it's not bad.
It's not bad. I mean, it's not no body, no crime, but no crime, no grand jury indictment. It's all the same thing. It all comes back to that. So an actual no body, no crime, he said, but in a much more legalistic way. In addition, Arthur stated that, quote, if everyone does what I tell them, I'll be all right. Mm-hmm. Give him an alibi and all that kind of shit. Later in that day, his brother-in-law was in Arthur's cell, and Arthur said, quote, I grabbed the bitch and she said, please don't do this. He then said that he told her, I'll do whatever the fuck I want, just shut up. To which she replied, just don't kill me, I'll do anything. All fair on her part. Then Arthur told his brother-in-law at that point, quote, we did whatever we wanted with her. She did whatever we told. He's alone, by the way. Oh. There's nobody with him.
Yeah.
We is now me.
Him in his head.
Yeah, that's insane. Does he think of his penis as a separate entity or something? Because this is fucking creepy.
Yeah.
It gets worse. We did whatever we wanted with her. She did whatever we told. And then when we were done, I almost took her head off and we crammed a tree branch up her cunt.
Oh, my God.
That's what he told this guy. We.
Meanwhile, he makes it sound like it was consensual because he told her to, but she was already very injured.
Very injured and bargaining for her very life.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it was like that turned into a date for him at that point. Like he's a fucking monster. This is horrifying. And we know, by the way, unless the cops told him this, which they say they didn't, the tree branch thing was not publicly reported at all. At this point, the only people that knew about the tree branch were the homicide detectives, the people who found her and whoever killed her. That's it. Yeah. No one else knew. So for this guy to get that information was a big fucking deal. It was the police neither disclosed this detail to this guy or showed him photographs of the body. So this guy had no way of knowing that otherwise.
Wow.
Another inmate, Quincy Jamal Williams, is also incarcerated with Arthur, also reported to police, unprompted, that Arthur confessed to murdering the victim to him and basically said the exact same words. He even said no body, no grand jury indictment.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So a few weeks later, Arthur tries to kill himself in prison.
Oh, really?
God damn it. Why? If only he wasn't such a failure. If only he wasn't such a failure. Because this is a guy you walk in and you go, oh, well, take him down, throw him in a hole in the fucking thing and move on. Who cares? Fuck this guy. You know what I mean? Piece of shit.
For the mom, I'd really love him to at least be convicted before he pulls that shit.
Yeah, they know he did it. I don't think I wouldn't care. Once I know who did it, there's DNA and everything. Fucking kill yourself. Please. Drown yourself in the toilet in yourself for all I give a shit. I don't care how you do it. That'd be a great way. That's depressing.
Yeah.
After someone else took a shit in there. I'd like to know that.
Yeah.
So after hearing about this, his counsel requests for a competency examination.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, September 9th, 1997, he's going to plead guilty to burglary and theft charges.
Yeah.
And he's going to get, you, sir, may fuck off 3 to 7 years in state prison for that.
That's
okay.
Yeah.
His lawyer says this, and this is wild, because they're waiting to charge him with the murder because they had him on the burglary.
Yeah.
Right now, he's got all his outstanding charges resolved. He adamantly denies any involvement with any other cases here. And also, Arthur indicated that he's anxious to return to Nevada, where he faces additional jail time because of his burglary conviction in Pennsylvania. So, yeah, he could receive a sentence in Nevada anywhere up to life without parole, they said, for that. Mm-hmm. Now, there's lingering questions, though, here. Number one, where are the rest of her clothes?
Yeah.
That's a problem. They can't figure out at that point. Where's her clothes? Only her underwear and shoes were recovered, and they were placed there on purpose. So he said he threw them out, so presumably in a landfill at this point.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Also, they were saying at the time they didn't know exactly where he took her. Where's that third location? They know the start and the end, but where's the middle here? They said also most of the blood was missing from her body, blood that could not be accounted for at either crime scene. So that's where she lost most of that.
Somewhere else, yeah.
At that, at the number 2 location there that they don't know about yet. And they mentioned nothing about blood being found in the car in the affidavit, and the sources say it's microscopic samples. Well, that doesn't matter. Any samples.
Any at
Guess
all.
who? None of her blood's in my car.
She shouldn't be bleeding in his car at all.
No, that's why they don't know each other. Why is she bleeding in his? That's what I'm saying. Any murder case, I can go, their blood's not in my car. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
So they also said, where is the murder weapon? It can't be the tire iron that was found near the car because more blows were inflicted later.
Right.
So it has to be something else later. They don't know. They do know that no fibers or hairs were found on the tire iron, only blood. And who knows why that is, but either way, there's got to be another weapon. It can't be that. Right. And can they trace the greasy and ash-like substances found on her body to Arthur as well? Also, they said, how did he, because at this point, based on not what he said, they don't know how he would get her out of the car and all that kind of thing. So that's what they're worried about. So the evidence, obviously, you got your forensic evidence here linking him. Expert in tire tracks are linking him with the tires. Impression taken from the site there. There's also pattern injuries that match up perfectly to his oil pan. That's a thing here. It matches a repeating pattern of rectangle with crosses in it, vertical lines and machined edges match the features of the pattern injury on the right side of her thorax, and opined that the oil pan caused the injury. DNA evidence, clearly, they said there's that, and they said it's 1 in 800 million, 1 in 500 million for the black population. The profile's 1 in 1.6 billion for white people, 1 in 500 million for black people, 1 in 800 million Hispanic people. So
I don't understand why he ran her over.
It's you, Chief. It makes no sense.
None.
No sense. And he must have been over her for a second for the pattern to get on her.
He's
you know
done
what I mean?
So much to hurt this poor woman.
Maybe he got stuck on her?
Maybe.
It's a Ford fucking Escort.
Yeah, it's low. Yeah.
It's low. Those are shit boxes, too.
Yeah.
It would, like, if he ran and got stuck on her, like the back wheels would have came off the ground. It's a little shit box. You put a fucking penny in the back and it goes. So another expert in DNA analysis said that all the car stains are hers too. Yeah. So they said hers, though, because they're smaller samples, it's less. It's not like 1 in 500 million for her. Yeah. The fact that her profile is consistent with the blood stains was only approximately in 1 in 12 people for white people. So that's a problem a little bit. Yeah. But all the rest of it really brings it together.
Yeah. 1 in 12. Now back to 1 in 12 people can't have one in that many of him.
No, no, that's what I mean. That's not possible. Maria Cabuenos, the missing woman whose car was found in his possession here. She was a 25-year-old woman, a native of the Philippines, who disappeared on March 16th, 1997. When she left the Waniata Park home she shared with her 2 brothers for a half-day shift as a lab technician with the SmithKline Beecham Company in Montgomery County. Mm-hmm. She's one of 11 siblings and was expected to be at her sister's house for Sunday lunch. Yeah. They said that she was the kind of person who would call if she was going to be late. They said her sister, Donna, figured maybe she went shopping, but it wasn't normal for her to do that without asking anyone else if they wanted to go. Right. She's very enmeshed with her family, all these siblings. They all come from a foreign country and hang out together. So if she's going out, she's asking one of her sisters to go. The day before she disappeared, Maria drove their parents to the airport for a trip to the Philippines. For 2 weeks, the siblings refused to tell the couple that Maria was missing because they were over there. Yeah. So they said her mother has a heart condition and they feared that she'd die over there. So, wow, that is crazy. So the car belonging to her was found with him here. Also, they connected Arthur and her through a series of events that unfolded after her disappearance. Yeah. She was reported missing when she failed to show up for her overnight shift at the place she worked, the lab. And when they found him with her vehicle, he claimed to have purchased the vehicle from a stranger in Philadelphia, the Honda that he was found with when he was arrested. But inside the car, they found blood stains that match her DNA. Okay. Which doesn't necessarily, people bleed in her car, but there's another problem. When they search Arthur's home, his trailer, they find her watch. Oh. So he said, I found it in the car. Yeah. That's what he said. But I don't know. If you got a dead woman's fucking car and her watch and no bill of sale and that's with her name on it, you're in a lot of fucking trouble, I think, at that point. Yeah. They also found a pistol, several pairs of underwear, and a blood stain in the car as well. Okay. So this is fucking real
I've
weird
never
here.
sold a car and left my undies in it.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. No, I especially multiple pairs.
Yeah.
I left like my Monday through Thursday on in there. Damn it.
I got a couple emergency pairs in the back.
You never know.
Just in case. Sometimes
you never know.
I'm 44. I can't trust a fart no more.
Nope, you can't. You got to just hope for a fart and pray for a fart and plan for shit, if you know what I'm saying, right? That's how the old saying goes, I believe. Pray for farts, plan for shits.
And never let those women meet.
Yeah. My pastor told me that when I was just a wee boy, a little tiny feller there. They also said, by the way, one of his girlfriends said that he had the trunk carpet replaced in his car. Arthur did.
That's common.
And taken unusual steps to clean the vehicle, actions that obviously raised suspicions as well. So it's fucking interesting. Now, Maria's murder became obviously they think he did it, but they don't have enough to charge him with it.
Yeah.
Because people bleed in their cars and they can't prove, because she's not alive, they can't prove he didn't buy it from someone, and maybe someone who stole it from her. Who knows? And the watch could have been in the car, so they can't connect it, even though it fits his pattern to a T. Couldn't be better. So very interesting. And I guess he's not going to be charged. So the police say that he would use the alias Peter Love. And one of the cops, this is a criminal analyst, said the bottom line is that he saw himself in grandiose terms sexually. And when he was frustrated when other women, the ones he preferred, the young collegiate types, didn't see him in the same light. When rejection comes, that violence is justified to him.
Oh.
Yeah, because he's getting older now, and it's harder. Every year that passes, no matter how much game you have, it gets harder and harder to pick up college chicks.
That's true.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing with him.
When
before he could talk him into
chicks.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I would think, the older you get, the less they would want you, I would imagine.
Yeah. And the older
unless you're very wealthy or coach North Carolina
less,
football or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Should be the less you want it to.
You get the less you want. Exactly. But I mean, even if you want it, it really doesn't matter because they don't fucking want you at that point.
Because that's rape.
Yeah, that's creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
So he's going to plead not guilty to Amy's murder.
Okay.
Here. And they're not going to charge him with the Cabuenos murder at all here. So they finally, after all this, right before his trial, they find Maria's body.
Yeah.
They find she was dead. Her body was found in the trunk of a burned out car.
Where?
And she was murdered in Philly.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And they said there was no definitive way of proving that he murdered her because of the lack of physical evidence, especially with a burned out car. And but they know that he did it, basically. It's like, give me a fucking break. No other suspects ever emerged in her murder either, just him. I think him having her car is pretty much that's the key. So they're going to try and see if he's competent here. A psychiatrist examines him and performed an examination with defense counsel and a psychiatrist retained by the state present as well. This doctor was not provided any records to review. Defense counsel spoke with him shortly before the examination and advised him of the concerns that prompted being here. Suicide attempt, whatever. The doctor notes that he found no evidence of psychosis in Arthur and explained that Arthur's beliefs about his fiancée and wife being raped were not strictly speaking delusional because he was willing to give up those beliefs based on their verbal representations that they had not been raped. Basically, he would rape his wives and girlfriends and then have them make sure to tell him that they weren't. He didn't rape them afterwards.
Right.
That was the thing that he did here. Jesus Christ. They also observed that while Bomar mentioned he felt spirits, which he referred to as God's spirits, these feelings were more religious and spiritual than hallucinatory or delusional. More, in a nebulous way, not I actually see him and he's standing right there and this is what he looks like. Yeah. So the report noted that although Arthur was cooperative during the interview, there were topics that he did not wish to discuss, deeming them not relevant. Those topics included his childhood, his family, his education, his work, his criminal history, basically his whole life before sitting before you here, which prevented the doctor from being able to do his job properly here. But he concludes, based on what he saw, quote, in my opinion, within reasonable medical certainty, Arthur Bomar is mentally competent to proceed. He's aware of the nature of his consequence and the consequences of the legal situation in which he finds himself, and he can work with his attorney preparing for his defense. There are times when he is resistant to working with Mr. Much, that's the attorney, and reluctant to working with him, but as he's indicated, he is able to do so when he chooses so. With Mr. Bomar, in my opinion, it's more a matter of lack of willingness rather than lack of ability to work with his attorney. Clearly, he is aware of the participants in the courtroom and their functions and is able to understand their role or his role within the system. So the doctor noted that he's highly suspicious, Arthur is, characterized him as having paranoid personality disorder, and recommended the use of stabilizing medication in the event that his suspiciousness becomes excessive and interferes with his ability to work effectively with his counsel. Mm-hmm. His attitude is also interesting. The investigators say in all the meetings, he has a real bring-it-on attitude. He'll won't admit to jack shit and challenges the cops to show him proof.
Come and get me.
Come show me, which is what innocent people do unless you're really guilty. Right. So in one interview, though, he broke down and cried, but we don't know why. Huh. Now, prosecutors offer him a deal because they're going for the death penalty.
Yeah.
So they're offering him a deal where he could not get the death penalty if he revealed what happened to Maria Cabuenos.
Oh.
And he said, fuck yourselves. Not interested.
Kill me.
Yep. He said, quote, I don't want no deal. I'm innocent. That's what he said in court.
Okay.
Yep. So the prosecution here said here that they 8:30 at night on the evening of June 19th. By the way, that's the night it happened.
Yeah.
And he also got stopped the next night, too, at 11:35. This is so 2 days, in 20 fucking 5 hours, or 27 hours, he got stopped twice while murdering people. That's how cool he is and calm. A cop stopped him at 8:30 p.m. on June 19th, 6 blocks from where Amy's car would be found 5 hours later. Following her murder, police sought to question him, but they couldn't find him. He was arrested for trying to break into that woman's apartment. As 3 other men had emerged as suspects in the murder, including Andrew there, authorities turned their attention away from Bomar and didn't question him because Andrew looked like a much better suspect at the time.
Right.
He totally did. He looked great. So after the DNA evidence linked him to the murders, his girlfriend then told authorities that he was at Smokey Joe's and blah, blah, blah. He noticed Amy. It's believed he noticed Amy there. Due to the damage found in the front of his car and the back of Amy's car, looks like he purposely rammed her car to get her to pull over. They exchanged information, struck her with a tire iron. They think that that he had with him and was holding it up his sleeve or something. Knocked her unconscious, took her to where he raped and killed her with 3 blows to the head from another large object. Afterwards, it's believed that he ran her over with his car, with the burn pattern being consistent with the oil pan as well. And, it makes sense. And they also found slight damage to the Ford Escort's bumper in the front.
Where it would have
that didn't have anything to do with the accident that it was in to end up in the junkyard. And then, of course, DNA testing all around. That's a big one. From the DNA, they matched the material found under her fingernails to Arthur. His DNA's under her fingernails. Hairs and fibers, hair samples from his car matched Amy's hair, and blood found in his trunk was linked through DNA as well. They have another piece of DNA they say there is a 1 in 5 billion chance that the semen left in Amy's body could have come from someone. 1 in 5 billion. That is more than half the world's population.
That's problems. Yeah,
so
there was only 7 in the 90s.
There might be like a Mongolian guy somewhere that shares your DNA, but that's
a Sherpa, way the fuck up Everest.
So he was busy that day. He was hauling shit up a mountain that fucking day.
He was trying to save himself from frostbite that day.
Yeah, the guy in Mongolia was eating a yak at that point and really couldn't have been there. And of course, the tire impressions as well. Yeah. The investigators say that he used the bump and abduct strategy to target her, deliberately causing the minor accident. Now, the brother-in-law testifies here, and they say, did the defendant say to you on that date in your cell, quote, if I, meaning Arthur, had disposed of the body, there would be no problem? Yes. He made that statement to you. Yes. Did he also make the statement to you, quote, no body, no grand jury indictment?
Yeah.
Yes. These conversations were in your cell that day. Yes. Were there any other conversations? Yes. I went into Arthur's cell and asked him what he meant about the first conversation earlier in the day. Right there, if Arthur doesn't realize that he's working for the cops, he's an idiot. I just told you what I did. And all I did was say, I thought you told me you weren't involved in none of this. And he just said, well, he was. He said he grabbed his words were, I grabbed the bitch and she said, please don't do this. He said, I'll do whatever the fuck I want. Just shut up. She said, please don't kill me. I'll do anything. He took her. He said he took her and did whatever he wanted in a van. He used the words We did whatever we wanted to her. She did whatever we told her. And when we were done, I almost took her head off and we crammed a tree branch up her cunt, then dumped the bitch. That was the end of the conversation. And he went and got on the phone. Holy fuck, this guy's scum of the earth. He also has some fun during trial. Several times during trial, Arthur has outbursts and makes obscene gestures to witnesses, lawyers, judges, the families, whoever, and needed to be restrained several times. The defense, what's their case going to be like?
No, he didn't do it. He's been framed.
They call no witnesses, arguing that the case was based on circumstantial evidence and that the witnesses are not to be believed. There's DNA of 5 different stripes. There's blood, there's hair, there's fucking semen. It's all over the place. Fingernails. That's 4 different types of DNA that they match to him, to this, to everything, the car, her, him to her, him to her, him to the car, her to the car. Wow. You got to put on some kind of defense that, like, they don't know how to test DNA or some shit, because that's not going to work. In the defense, in the closing arguments, his lawyer told jurors that he suffered from a low IQ, which everybody says he's fucking sharp. He's not dumb. Severe emotional and mental disturbances, and possibly even brain damage.
Maybe.
This poor man.
We don't know.
By the way, he hates that shit, as we'll find out later.
Oh, he's been told that he might be.
Oh, no. Not doesn't want to be told. He yells at the lawyer. You'll see. It's hilarious. So the jurors deliberate for 2 hours after closing arguments, then return the next day. And around 11:15 a.m., they went into the courtroom to ask the judge to define the charge of possession of an instrument of crime. Their question indicated that they already got past the murder and stuff, that kind of shit. Yeah. So 15 minutes later, they got a verdict, ready to roll, and he is found guilty as balls, I believe is the legal term they use for this. In addition to being convicted of murder, he's convicted of rape, assault, kidnapping, and abuse of a corpse, just to line them all up nicely.
Okay.
Yep. When he was announced to be guilty, he turned around and stuck his 2 middle fingers in the air toward the gallery. Double birds. Yeah. Then sentencing comes around and he gets worse. This is crazy shit what he does at sentencing. Before the hearing even starts, the jury's brought in and he stands up and says he wants to be sentenced to death.
Okay.
Sentence me to death. He refused to wear street clothes, which he has the right to do because it makes you not look like a prisoner, and was brought into the hearing in his prison garb and said, I've been found guilty in this courtroom of something I didn't do. It doesn't make any difference how I'm dressed. Okay. His lawyer warned the client that if you have your prison shit on, it's, quote, they're more likely to view you as a criminal on the jury. And he says, everybody else has, quote, it's not going to make any difference. It don't make no difference if they see me in this shit or not. I'd rather they give me the death penalty anyway, like I said.
Okay.
So then the judge suggested that civilian clothes would be to his benefit. And so he switched to slacks and a dress shirt after that. Smart move. Now the proceedings resumed, and the defense sought to establish 2 mitigating factors to keep him off death row here. One is that he was under the influence of extreme mental or emotional disturbance, and 2, of any other evidence of mitigation concerning his character and record, which is a catch-all mitigator, they call it. Just good character. And people like him. His kids think he's a nice guy, whatever the fuck. So in an effort to do this, they call a character witness, including 2 ministers they call.
Oh.
That he's talked to. They call his insurance agent.
Don't call my insurance agent.
How well do you know your insurance agent?
He does send me a birthday card, but it's because his computer alerts him.
It sends him out automatically, and he signs him off. Yeah, I get one too. They don't know my fucking...
It's fucking stupid.
Maria doesn't know my fucking...
It shows up birthday. And I go, come on, Paul, don't act like...
Yeah. You like once a year, if you're buying a car or selling a car, so that's when you talk to them for like 4 minutes, and you're like, thanks, later.
Yeah.
This person, his insurance agent described him as very polite and very respectful. Yeah, because he's doing insurance.
He's trying to get the cheapest one. He's not going to threaten you.
Yeah. No shit. Well, let's get the Pep Boys people in there. Maybe it's different. A woman who recounted how Arthur had recovered her children's diaper bag and her wallet and returned them intact in May of '93. Mm-hmm. That was before he went on that's when he was still doing nice things. One of the character witnesses, Reverend Glenn Sereno, unwittingly provided information for detectives' investigation into the Cabuenos killing, though. He recalled clearly the last time he saw Arthur, March 10th, 1997, in his Bucks County church. That's 5 days before Maria disappeared. And a surprised prosecutor said it was the first information that they have to know where his whereabouts at the time. So he was in the area, which is what they were thinking. Was he back in Nevada? What was he doing? They get Arthur's brother, Sonny, in there. He testifies for less than a minute. He said, "I don't want my brother to die. I love him very much. I'm pretty sure if it takes long enough, I'll find out who actually did this since they haven't."
What a guy.
Wow. Arthur's mom gets up there.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Her entire thing, I guess, is in a shout. She just shouts this entire thing. Yells it. Quote, "I am Arthur Boehmer's mother, and Arthur Boehmer didn't kill your daughter. Your murderer is going free, whoever they may be. My son did not kill your daughter."
Wow.
Then turns to the prosecutor and said, "I would like to say to Daniel, God forbid that the cross brought something like you out of it." What? God forbid that the cross brought something like you out of it. And to you, and turned to the investigators seated there. She said, quote, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, with your lying self." Which that's from the Bible, I believe.
With your lying self.
"Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, with your lying ass." I think that's how it's said in the Bible. So it's not an exact quote from her, but it's close.
She should have said, "I want to speak to your manager."
Yeah, this is wild. "You have lied, you have cheated, and you have disgraced this court of the United States of America."
Yeah.
America. And to the jury, don't do this because they're the ones decide. Don't. To the jury, you're supposed to go, "You're doing a great job."
Well done.
And to the jury, "If you would have listened to the evidence, you would have not found my son guilty. You're only looking at his color."
Yikes.
"Well, yeah, I'm looking at the color red, like his blood that's all over shit, and all hers is in him. I'm also looking at the color white, like semen that was found inside of her. This isn't a matter of color. There's shitloads of evidence."
Wait, there's a lot of color in this
physical evidence
case, and it's all bad.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, there's racism out there, and people definitely get arrested for whatever, but this isn't it, man. Yeah. This isn't the fucking hill to die on here. His mother then said, "He did not kill Amy Willard. He did a lot of things in his days. He ain't no angel, but he ain't killed nobody." Well, we know for a fact he shot that guy in fucking Nevada. He even admitted to it. So, wow. She then said, "Listen to what I say. When you stop thinking for yourself, you are looking for another Hitler, because that's how he took over Germany. The German people stopped listening to theyselves and only listened to him, and that's why he was able to kill off all the Jews." There's so many things wrong with that statement.
They're extinct. Did you hear?
All of them gone. Meanwhile, there's like 5 lawyers in the court going,
What? We're dead?
We're dead now?
With her lying ass.
With your lying ass. "Say it the Lord with your lying ass." Fuck that shit. Then she goes on to say, "The Hitlers and the Mussolinis and the Hirohitos, that's what these men are."
Wow.
The investigators.
Yeah.
You take my word for it. They are guilty of murder. Whoa. Then she turned to the judge and said, "Excuse me, Your Honor, I am through with this audience." Like she's a comic that went there to settle some fucking beefs. "I'm through with this audience. Fuck them," and throws the mic down. Like they're a Tampa crowd or some shit. What the fuck?
This isn't the Apollo, ma'am. Calm down.
Wow. "I'm through with this audience." That is fucking crazy. That's a lot.
You motherfuckers.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, she did the whole Bernie Mac Def Jam set right there. Eyes popping. "I ain't scared of you, motherfuckers."
Pull this clit out. Whole room get dark.
Whole room. So then more defense witnesses here. A forensic psychologist, Gerald Cook, was on the stand, and this is when he lost his shit. Arthur did not like this. Cook told the jury that tests he conducted indicate Arthur has a low IQ, a borderline personality disorder, and This is great. May have suffered organic brain damage as well, and called him compulsive, self-centered, confused about love, sex, and aggression. Under cross-examination, he further testified that Arthur was impulsive with low self-esteem, poor self-control. Think about if someone has a problem with their ego and everything like that. Someone just called you dumb, crazy, brain damaged, self-centered, selfish, stupid about love, sex, and aggression, and also can't control yourself, don't feel very good about yourself, and all this shit. Then referred to the murder conviction in 1978. And so he was asked, this is the prosecutor asked, can you predict how he will react if he's confronted with the same stimuli that he faced when he murdered people in 1978 and 1996? And that's when Arthur blew up and got up and was like, fuck this shit. He said, quote, look, bastard. He started out with look, bastard, which I love. Look, bastard, stop making me a hoe. Which I don't know if that's ever been screamed during a murder trial before. Stop making me a hoe. Look, you want to know how I'm going to act? You want to know how I'm going to act, you stupid motherfucker? That's how I'm going to act. That's what he said. Like this. If I had a weapon, I'd kill you. His lawyer said, be quiet.
Yeah,
Shut up. You're fucking this up. So he continues in very angry form, says, how the fuck would you act? You've been charged and found guilty of some shit you didn't do. I'm getting tired of you fucking with me. That's how I'm acting. I'm getting tired of these insults.
Stop calling me a dummy.
So the prosecutor said, I have no more questions of this witness. Arthur answered my question. This is how he reacts when he's confronted. Even in court, when everything on earth, including somebody in a suit, is telling him to shut the fuck up, he still can't shut the fuck up. Imagine
Showed
if he
the jury his hair trigger and how violent he gets just on one baby insult about saying he's mentally incompetent and doesn't know anything about sex.
It's fucking crazy. Then they asked him, would you like to say anything else? And he said, I was only convicted because I'm black.
Yeah, I got more.
That's what he said. I got more. Then, by the way, Amy's mother is one subpoenaed witness who does not testify because she is vocal in her opposition to the death penalty. And basically the prosecution doesn't want her to go up there and say, look,
don't kill him.
I love my daughter, but I would rather you not kill him based on that. So they quash her subpoena and don't make her come. Because she's a really nice, anybody who's not immediately hair trigger, like kill that motherfucker and actually sticks to their beliefs. That's a pretty good person. Yeah, a really good person.
Don't put her through this shit either.
That's the other thing too. So the jury comes back in glowering at him, according to this newspaper article, which is a bad sign, by the way. Bad sign.
Yeah.
And they say to him, you, sir, may fuck off. Death penalty.
Oh, my.
Even if they weren't going to do it, he talked himself into
it.
Good God. He the only time I've ever seen anyone do worse in the mitigating phase is Sarah Boone, literally. Went up there and insulted the victim. And
that letter was amazing.
And that's the only way you could do it any worse, is if you did that. That was crazy.
So funny.
Okay. After the jury read it, then Arthur asked to address the courtroom again. The judge refused, so he turns around. Amy's mother, Gail, is sitting right there. He flips her both birds and tells her to go fuck herself.
Oh, my God.
Then threatened to kill her and her two other alive children. I'll kill the ones you got left. That's what he said. While insisting he didn't kill Amy, by the way. But I'll kill the rest of you. Wow. The prosecutor says, quote, this last gesture demonstrates what a vile, filthy, disgusting human being Arthur Bomer is.
Yeah.
I think that sums it up real well. Wow. Amy's mom afterwards said she was satisfied. She said 12 people deliberated very, very hard, and they made a decision none of us had to make. She said she's an very outspoken death penalty opponent. She said there will never be closure. Amy's gone, and we miss her very, very much.
Right.
He doesn't really matter at this point. So in 2000, they're trying to get a law passed called Amy's Law. Mm-hmm. So the United States Congress attempted to pass the law. It ended up failing in the Senate, at that time. But then on October 28th, 2000, now this is right before the 2000 election, the very end of Clinton's term here, Clinton signs Amy's law into law.
Nice.
So it's designed to keep violent criminals in prison by providing states incentives to adopt stricter sentencing laws and hold states financially accountable if prisoners' early release leads to violence against someone in another state. Yeah. It's just what you wanted. Now, by 2000, they're still talking about Maria Cabuenos' murder because they have anything on it. Mm-hmm. They said Arthur Bomer remains a suspect, but no one has been charged. So they said that, she died from a blow to the head. Investigators couldn't determine whether she'd been sexually assaulted or even killed somewhere else other than where her body was found because it was burned. So, they told, they said they don't know what they're going to do here. The attorney here, district attorney, said Bomer was under suspicion. I don't think that was a secret. I'm not going to answer whether there are other suspects. He's still the target. So he goes to death row at this point. In 2003, remember Andrew Kobach, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Little tow truck driving son of a broker.
Well, he's got some issues in Florida.
Oh, is that right?
He's arrested for driving a vehicle equipped with police-like features.
Again.
Later that year, he faced charges related to sexual battery and other offenses involving a mentally disabled woman.
Oh, Jesus.
And he pled guilty to certain charges and got probation.
How Florida of him.
Dude, yeah. So this is all of these fucking creeps were in the same area, creeping around, looking to hit. That's crazy. 2003, Arthur appeals here. One
matters.
is Brady violations. He claims that the Commonwealth failed to disclose deals with jailhouse informants, his brother-in-law, and Quincy Jamal Williams. His brother-in-law obviously testified to all the horrible things there. And they said the court said even if such an agreement did exist, any Brady violation did not prejudice the appellant in light of the extensive DNA and circumstantial evidence against him. Right. Basically, they could have done everything wrong, and that DNA is so rock solid and circumstantial to back it up.
Right.
It's just ridiculous. They would have to, unless the guy who ran the DNA said, I fucking purposely, criminally exchanged it with another DNA or something. He's going.
Or if he said, I was so happy that it came back a hit, I came all over it.
I came all over it. It's me on there. They said that we need to reach definitive conclusion as to whether or not an agreement existed. This is the court saying this, though, because even if such an agreement did exist, any Brady violation in this regard didn't prejudice him. But they said that they'd like to know if that's the things they're doing here. They also said in a direct examination, the brother-in-law admitted in court that he had a plea agreement with federal prosecutors and that his cooperation was brought to the federal judge's attention during his sentencing, and he was going to get a lighter sentence because of that. So they said that in court. So it's out in the open. It's fine. Also, now he's asserting that he's incompetent to stand trial due to mental illness.
Oh, now he is.
Now he's crazy. Yeah.
Now that it benefits him. Yeah.
Now that it benefits him, he's all crazy. So they said, however, 3 evaluations close to trial date found him competent. He also says ineffective assistance of counsel during the penalty phase. They didn't tackle me while I was screaming at people. Nobody tased me. That's fucking wild. DNA evidence also challenging the DNA match evidence, claiming it was misleading and improperly presented. The court says there's no merit to this claim. Appellate counsel was not ineffective for failing to raise this meritless claim. He also says due process, because a court order was misused to extract him from prison for questioning. Also, he's got a lot of problems with his brother-in-law. He's filing all sorts of shit based on that and, saying all that. He also said at one point, Bomar expressed concern about the grand jury, saying, if I did with that bitch what I did with the last one, there would have been no problem. Then he said, no body, no grand jury indictment. The trial did not allow that first part. If I did with the bitch what I did with the last one, there'd be no problem. Because they said that is a crime they're not even accusing him of in court because they don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
It just shows he's a serial killer. That's what it shows.
Right. It shows that he's got a pattern.
Yeah. So they rule that basically, they said even if any evidentiary or procedural irregularities existed, the overwhelming physical, testimonial, and forensic evidence against him, including DNA confessions, crime scene links, meant there's no reasonable possibility that the verdict or sentence would have changed. Yeah. And so he remained on death row. The Supreme Court upheld his death sentence in 2003, but ordered a lower court to resentence him on convictions of rape, kidnapping, and abuse of a corpse. Doesn't affect the death sentence. In 2004, I know the governor signed his death warrant, but the execution here is stayed by a federal judge. Oh. Yes, it stayed there, and it keeps going. So 2014, death sentence upheld again. Okay. Keeps getting upheld. In prison currently here, he is prisoner inmate number DK1677, by the way. And he is at the Somerset location.
Still there, not put to death yet.
Still there, not put to death at all. That's as of May 27th, 2025 at 4 a.m.
Holy.
That's where he was, because it tells you that's, because you look at it when you look it up. So now Amy here, they do a nice thing for her. They establish a national award based in her honor by U.S. Lacrosse.
Oh, for the lacrosse team.
A lacrosse award for her. And additionally, roadside memorials mark the site where her car was found, serving as a remembrance. And also the mother Gail was doing something in the neighborhood she was found in as well. Okay. She was doing like a thing, like a every year thing for her type of deal. This case, when it was still unsolved, was featured on Unsolved Mysteries.
Really?
And then it was on Cold Case Files after it was solved. Okay. And then it was on The New Detective. Sure. And also featured on The Forensic Files. Okay. So once you've been on Cold Case Files and The Forensic Files, just go ahead and put your appeals in a drawer because you're done.
I don't think you're going to win any appeals, man.
It's not happening there. So there you go. There is Chester, Pennsylvania.
God dang.
Fucked up story. That is a fucked up story.
Unbelievable.
All over the place.
I can't believe that's not the fucking
that's crazy.
Household name, Bomar.
That's what I mean. Hey, we don't know how many people he killed, but we know he killed at least two for sure. Yeah. About 98% he killed Cabuenos. Yeah. So we know there's 3. And then he said the last one, and that was one that was before Amy. Yeah. So that's, we're talking about
decades long guy. Yeah.
He could have disappeared women forever.
Yeah.
We don't know. This is scary shit.
And ran from Vegas. Who knows how many he did out there.
In the desert.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
It's terrifying. Yeah. So anyway, keep your eyes out. Look out for people like that. And definitely also go to whatever app you're on and give us 5 stars. It helps a lot. Really does. If you like the show, that's a great way to help out the show. Only takes 30 seconds, and it really, really helps us out. Way more than 30 seconds worth. So thank you for doing that. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com is the website. That is where you're going to get all of, number one, merchandise and also tickets for live shows. Starting in September, we're back on the road pretty consistently through the end of the year. Get your tickets for Seattle. It's the day after Portland, which is sold out. Get your tickets for Philly, D.C. Those are getting close too. Sure. I think there's some left in Irvine, maybe a couple in San Diego. Get all your tickets right now because we're pretty damn excited to come see you guys out there. So ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com. You definitely also want to follow on social media. We are at Small Town Murder on Instagram, at Small Town Pod on Facebook. Definitely get Patreon. My God.
Yeah.
If there's one thing we could recommend to you, it's Patreon.
There it is.
Not just because we get the money, but because it's goddamn worth it. We really throw down on Patreon. Anybody $5 a month or above, you're going to get way more than $5 worth. You're going to get hundreds and hundreds of episodes of bonus shit that you've never heard before immediately to binge on subscription. Then you get new ones every other week. 1 Crime and Sports, 1 Small Town Murder, and we just give it to you all. Just whatever we put out, you get. This week, what we're going to talk about is going to be there's this weird baseball league where they play by 1864 rules with 1864 equipment, like the beginning of baseball. It's so weird. And then, by the way, the next one after that will be the Liver King we're going to talk about. So keep an eye out for that. Then for Small Town Murder here, for the bonus episode, we are going to talk about Sherry Papini and this new documentary that came out. You think you know all about Papini? Well, she's going to tell you don't.
It is exhausting to watch that documentary, and every time they say Panini, I go, Panini.
Panini. I love that they replayed that clip, by the way. Her in the background. Panini. You're fucking it up.
And then he goes,
I love it.
Papini.
Papini? I don't fucking know.
He'd much rather call her Panini, too.
So check that out. We can't wait to make fun of that and talk all about it. Who knows? Maybe she'll have something fun, good to say. I know she doesn't. We listen to it. So
amazing.
Get in there and get that. Patreon.com/CrimeInSports. And you're going to get a shout out at the end of the show, which is right now. Jimmy, hit me with the names of the people who would never, ever be serial killers who stalk us coming out of bars to bump into our cars and murder us. Jimmy, hit me with them right now.
This week's executive producer, Rowan8436, Peyton Meadows, Liz Vasquez.
Thank you.
Happy Hour checking in West Memphis, Arkansas, Janice Hill, and Andrew Gillen. Thank you all so much for doing what you do. You're phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
Other producers this week are Julie Yemker. Yemker? Y-M-K-E-R. How do you do that? Yemker?
Sounds about right.
Imker? Might be Imker. All right. Well, there you go. Thank you, Julie.
Freak
O'Fark, James, is a fan of yours.
The old Arkansas license plate from back in the day there. Very nice.
Trevor Morales, Drew Patania, Jennifer Devaney, Devaney? I don't know. Krista Merrick, Trisha Lynn, Derek Hasenstab, Lynn with no last name, Missy Blanchett, Sean Kreitzman, Daniel Hoft, Travis Farr, Lynette McIrvin, Alyssa Hernandez, Tiffany Narikis, Shelly with no last name, Taryn Wright.
I'm gonna have some munchos.
Please do.
Your stupid opinions reviews that we have left over here. Well, these are good.
Stacy Herb, probably Herb. Fiona with no last name, John Shea, Kyle Bell, Lori White, Deneen. D-E-N-N, no, 2 N, 1 N, 2 E's. Deneen, that's it. Elias,
Deneen?
Elias, Elias, Branaby, Emily Cornwell, Cornwell, yep. Yeah, sure is. Margaret Spear, Ryan with no last name, Jenny Moravik, yeah, it's Moravik, Moravik, Piper with no last name, Della Griffin, Abby Cantrell, Zach Delaney, Hezekiah, with no last name.
Hezekiah?
No, Hezekiah. I swear it.
I can't see it.
Anthony Burt, Emma Balargian, Balargian. I don't know.
Wow. Quite the handle.
Your guess is as good as mine. Veronica Peters, Dixon Herbutt, James. That's absolutely a real person.
Dixon Herbutt. That's a very okay. That's I like that name.
Yeah, cousin his butt. Lisa Goss, Doug Flores, Carlos with no last name, Wyona Fuller, Allison Taskey, Leanne Tilwilger, Megan Bell, Lauren Davis, Samantha Morelli, William Haney, Austin Baker, Scott Funches. Yep, wow. Jessica Dawson. Melissa Danker, Alex Hunkins, Bob Rowe, not Rob Lowe, Bob Rowe.
Or Bob Ross.
Or Bob Ross, or that other Mike Rowe. Stephanie Moore, Jax with no last name, Lucy Herwood, Brittany Nywood.
Lucy Hiswood, is that their... We got to get them together with Dixon Herbutt.
Yeah, Dixon Herbutt and... Dixon Herwood.
We got my wood, his wood, her
Lucy,
wood,
his
butt,
butt.
my butt. Yeah, there's a lot there, man. A lot to unpack.
Brittany Nyman, Catherine Sweet, Reese with no last name, Christy Edwards Steen, Amber Glembin, Haley Garena, Adam Peabody, Tammy M, Peabody. Robert with no last name, Colleen London, Sybil Graham, Brian Finilla, Heather with no last name, Racy Kuhn, careful with that one, Julia Wallen, Karen Ladika, Sherry, don't you know? Don't you?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know now.
But I wish my girlfriend was hot like you, evidently. Shayla Sadorf, Lillian with no last name, TJ Burgess, David Jeremy, Stacy Durand, Tracy Hayden, Aaron with no last name with an E, N-N-Y, E-R-Y-N. Let's just spell the whole fucking thing.
Say, where does that go? What letter is where? I can't figure
Jamie
it out.
Weiland, Robert Makooch. Robert Makooch. Do it,
Makooch
James.
and Herbutt and Dixon and I am fucking.
That's
you guys
a real
are perverts, man.
Makooch.
Makooch.
James Perrier, Wyatt Smart, Jay Moulter, Katie with no last name, Laura Shrua, Jessica Richards, Matt, Paula Pink, Kelly Wisdom, Kendra Cap, Jackson Weehee, Wayhee, Krista Snyder, Heather with no last name, Jason Castleman, Joshua Polzewski, Funky Butt Lovin', James. He's a real person. Jessica Andrews.
Why not? Tonight, add her to the list.
This is a day.
In this crowd, sure.
Nicole May, Christina Shut, the fuck up, Andrea Flemister, Fleamister, Robin Duvall, Beth Shepard, Carlos Jackson, and obviously all of our filthy patrons, you dirtbags. I love you. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you so much, everybody, for all that you do for us. It means the fucking world, and we just can't thank you enough for everything. Mm-hmm. Thank you, and if you want to follow us on social media, real easy to do that. Shutupandgivememurder.com, drop-down menus take you everywhere you want to go, so do that, and come back and keep hanging out with us. Oh, my God. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.